Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome inside LaSalle College High School. Just underway here in first quarter action of the LaSalle JV game as they take on St. Joseph's Prep. That's Caleb Bryant, the freshman, on the board early on, and LaSalle with a 2-0 lead. Joining me on set, Joe Shuron, Patty Heckard, and Patrick Gallagher is with us on camera. Good start early on here for the LaSalle team. In rhythm 3. Back iron no off the hands of number 14, Connor Donahue. Back the other way comes St. Joe's Prep. And too much there, but a foul called against Caleb Bryant. Jay Vargas to the line to shoot 2. Guys, welcome.
Thanks for having me on, Bob. I appreciate it. It should be a good game today.
Great to be here.
On the board early, Jay Vargas. This is a cool thing we're doing here today. We got a double header scheduled. JV game at 1 o'clock. Varsity taking place at 2:30. Two apiece here in the early stages. Full court pressure from St. Joseph's Prep. For those of you tuning in, specifically for Speedy Morris's last game. If you're watching this on delay, I would fast forward about an hour and a half into this broadcast. We're going to keep it as one broadcast for the purposes of the doubleheader. If you're watching live, stay with us, and we'll have that after this game. But again, if you are watching this after the fact and want to hear the Senior Day celebrations for LaSalle and see everything related to Speedy Morris's last game, including special guests Paul Romanchik and Dr. John Giannini, that'll come about an hour and a half into this broadcast. We look forward to seeing you there. Caleb Bryant couldn't hit that one. It is 4-2 St. Joe's Prep, 5:14 to play. Guys, this is the first time you've seen the LaSalle JV team this year, at least from a broadcast perspective. I assume you know some of these guys, see them in the hall. You guys seniors, a lot of these guys underclassmen. What do you know about some of the guys out there on the floor?
Well, we have some familiarity to Sean Jennings, who used to be a more key part to the LaSalle varsity team, and now is down for the JV team. So I feel like we have some sense of how they're going to play with a player like Sean Jennings in their lineup.
And Caleb Bryant's gotten some time at the varsity level as well. That's pretty good footwork. Couldn't finish, but got his own rebound. A second follow, padding the offensive rebounding stats as he puts it home.
Salle definitely, I think they're going to use that height advantage to Caleb Bryant. They've it seems like Prep's got a much shorter lineup compared to LaSalle's, and I feel like it'd be smart for LaSalle to attack down low more with Caleb.
Here's a shot right over the top of the zone. It's good. Number 1, Austin Fludgen. Make that Hodgins. Austin Hodgins for 3 puts St. Joe's Prep up 7-4. Donahue cutting in there with Cyberlick. Instead, it's Caleb Bryant going to work. Nearly traveled with it, and Donahue couldn't control it. Prep the other way. A left-handed finish. Counted and one. Jay Vargas, a chance for the old-fashioned three-point play.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a bad foul to pick up there early in the game. Just got to let him run down the court and take it.
Yeah, late on the layup, it seemed like he already had the basket, and taking a swing at that was just an easy extra point for Prep and a chance at the line.
Once again, for those of you just joining us, we joined you about 30 seconds into this one. St. Joe's Prep, the JV team taking on LaSalle here, and you're starting to see the crowd filter in at the bottom of your screen, the LaSalle huddle at the top of your screen. You're seeing folks fill in already for what will be a full house for Speedy Morris's last regular season game as a head coach. A man who needs no introduction, but has coached at every level of Philadelphia basketball, high school, all the way up through college, men's and women. And his long tenured career ends here today. That tip is at 2:30. We're going to have a really nice role for you guys here as well, Joe and Patty. We're going to have you switching off between camera on one half, but also sideline reporting. It's something we haven't been able to do so far this year. We've been working towards it. We got the extra long headphone cords and microphone cords, and we're going to kind of rely on you to get into the LaSalle huddle, and even in some cases the St. Joe's Prep huddle how to get a sense for what's going on there, and we'll pan to you throughout timeouts and other stoppages in the game. A nice way to finish the season from a broadcast perspective. And we're going to have Paul Romanchik, 15-year head coach at Archbishop Carroll, as well as Dr. John Giannini, long tenured head coach at LaSalle University, succeeding Speedy in that role, as well as Richie Prendergast, who is the color commentator for LaSalle University, broadcasts now and was a longtime assistant under Speedy Morris. It's 9-4 St. Joe's Prep. Here's Cyberlick with a touch out near the logo, defended. Sean Jennings. And St. Joe's Prep remains in this man-to-man. Jennings off his leg. It's going to go St. Joe's Prep's way.
Earlier in the game, it seemed like LaSalle was getting a lot of open looks and they weren't able to convert. Now it seems like Prep's defense has gotten a lot tighter and they haven't allowed any open shots in a little while here.
Another open three in a corner, back iron, no, and a nice rebound there by Connor Donahue. Out in transition, without numbers, goes Jennings anyway, and he couldn't finish it. Head coach Bob Zanio asking for the foul there. I certainly thought there was contact as well. LaSalle back into the man-to-man defense. They were beaten by a three over the top of the zone, and that kind of quashed that defensive mindset, at least for the time being. But LaSalle always a team willing to come into and out of defense. There's a good double team in the corner, and Conroy did everything he could to stay in bounds, but the toes just on the end line. A good double by both Conroy and Cyberlick along the baseline. J.P. Egan walks this one back to the timeline. Vargas has had a nice game. Here's a drive inside and a dunk. Reese Clark, number 14, lights the lamp early on for St. Joe's Prep.
Not something you expect in a JV game this early on.
Nice back cut there. Donahue got his defender in the air. Now he's in trouble. A safety valve is Connor Cyberlick. 2:10 to play first quarter of the JV game here, part of a doubleheader on Bob Long Sports. Good keep there by Donahue. He's going to get it back open. A good closeout by St. Joe's Prep prevents the pull-up. Charles Ireland with it now, and he gives that one away. Not a good pass there, and the other way comes Vargas. He'll lay it in. Timeout called by LaSalle. And St. Joe's Prep has it going on right now. 13-4, they lead over LaSalle. 1:49 to go in the first quarter of the JV game.
Not looking good for LaSalle so far. Their big men are getting double teamed in the paint. They look a little lost. They don't seem to know what they can do, and then they've been throwing the ball away, or I don't know, just been creating problems with closeouts on shooters too. Haven't really been able to make much space in the paint.
Yeah, LaSalle really, towards the beginning, were able to find their open shots, find open lanes, but now St. Joe's Prep is really keeping them out of the paint, and they're passing the ball around the outside, which is causing St. Joe's Prep to be able to reach out, get a steal, and have scored two breakaway buckets off of that.
See what LaSalle can do to get back into it. It's only a 9-point game. This is a very good three-point shooting LaSalle team as well. Jackson Conroy, Charles Ireland, Connor Donahue, Connor Cyberlick, guys right off the top of the tongue that can absolutely hit it from deep. And then you got guys like Ireland who can also get into the lane with the drive. Sean Jennings not afraid to get into the lane as well. And you mentioned those bigs. Isaiah Turner, who's out there wearing 55 right now, as well as Caleb Bryan, who sits on the bench. Guys that can get it going inside as well. But what we have seen, to both of your points, is St. Joe's Prep controlling the offensive flow and getting those transition buckets that LaSalle needs to quash at this point. A reach in, contact from number 50. That's J.P. Egan for St. Joe's Prep. His first, team's first. .90 seconds to play. Good catch inside. Turner, no. Brought down there by Egan, and the other way comes number 14, Reese Clark. Clark fouled from behind. Isaiah Turner picks up the personal, team's third, his first.
It was a nice catch by Turner inside. Just couldn't get the roll on the layup.
Inside. There's Reese. Reese Clark, another layup, and St. Joe's Prep leads by 11. Late stages here of the first quarter. Turner looks for help. Ireland takes the ball screen, looked for the slip. That's good recovery defense by St. Joe's Prep. Now Conroy attacks. Ireland, the recoil, and the three is good. Jackson Conroy, it's good two-man basketball, penetration and kick.
That was a much-needed basket for LaSalle.
Liam O'Neill off the bounce. Jay Vargas, the double ball screen. The one caught Conroy pretty good, but he worked through it. 21 seconds left. LaSalle trails by 8. St. Joe's Prep may be content to go for the last shot of the quarter. Reese Clark now with 8. Clark gets it back. That's a long three. No good. Still 3 seconds. Down to 2. Jennings gets it to the timeline, puts it up before the horn and a little bit long. But LaSalle got a decent look at it at the end of the quarter. A good defensive stand to keep them right in it, guys, and it's 15-7, St. Joe's Prep.
Yeah, hit the big three, and then they came down and got the stop then the quarter. Not sure had a chance at the end there, but yeah, good momentum to take into the second quarter.
I feel like LaSalle came into the game with a lot more confidence, and once St. Joe's Prep was able to adapt to their offensive style, St. Joe's Prep, they applied the pressure, made sure they stayed out of the paint, and has really stopped them, and now we see a 15-7 scoreline. Absolutely
right. I think that's the discussion in that huddle right now, is how to get the ball inside, how to space the floor, and hitting a few more threes like Jackson Conroy did is going to force St. Joe's Prep to guard the perimeter. But, absent that, devising a way to get the ball into your bigs, but into your bigs to a dangerous spot where you can catch, turn, and finish without having to put it on the floor. And I think that's a key going into the second quarter here for LaSalle. And for St. Joe's Prep, Reese Clark, very impressive to me, number 14. A guy that, when you look at him now, you feel like that's a guy that potentially could go up and contribute to the varsity level right now. And he is a JV star here for the St. Joe's Prep team, a guy that LaSalle needs to devise a strategy to keep off the board. Onward here in the second quarter. 7-minute quarters here at the JV level. A foul called. Reese Clark will shoot 2 more at the line, just knifing his way to the hole. Reese Clark, 1 of 2. St. Joe's Prep, a 16-7 lead. Here's a kick out. Pull up. And a little bit long that time. St. Joe's Prep with the rebound. Clark, why not? Gave that one up, though, and St. Joe's Prep will run the offense.
I'm really surprised he didn't shoot that one.
Bryant definitely gave him the opportunity to shoot and did again, and still didn't. Clark did not take the shot.
This one is hoisted, no good. But Clark, a rebound, thought he was fouled. Surprised not to see a call there, and LaSalle will bring it the other way. Here's James Barczyk giving that one away. And another lay-in by Jay Vargas.
Third steal of the day for him already.
Yeah, Prep's defense has done a great job at reading what LaSalle's going to do. They've been just getting in front of passes, and they just seem to know what LaSalle's trying to set up here.
Caleb Bryan, a left-handed finish inside. Footwork across the lane, and LaSalle cuts the deficit to 9 again. 5:34 to play, second quarter.
Nice spinning like you were talking about when they were coming out of the huddle. Get guys in the paint, not have to put the ball on the ground. So it's a good play.
Reese Clark, hesitation, dribble, offensive foul as he runs through Barczyk. We'll get one more look. The shake got him by the first defender, but Barczyk the slide, there in time, and an offensive foul gives it back to LaSalle. That's the first personal against Clark.
It's a good job by the LaSalle defender to figure out where he was going to go and get his feet set to get ready to take the charge.
At first, I thought that was a foul on Bryant for shooting foul.
Sure.
But, he definitely slipped in there and got the charge off.
That's a great back screen from Caleb Bryan, allowing Donahue to the hole, and it's number 12, Charles Ireland, with the assist. LaSalle crawling their way back, down by 7. Liam O'Neill, he runs the show, and nice defense by Donahue. 4:40 to go here in the second quarter. Barczyk looking for a back-cutting Ireland. Defense stays with him pretty well. Nearly another steal. Ireland, good catch, good move to the basket. He's fouled by Vargas. He'll shoot 2 at the line. And guys, what I want you to pay in mind here is the seal by Ireland. So good right there. Close to what could have been a hook, but not called, and he'll shoot 2 at the line. Joe, Patty, this is a guy, Charles Ireland, that I think certainly can contribute at the varsity level next year. He spent a little bit of time up at the varsity level this year, showed some flashes, came back to the JV team to kind of work in more of a playmaker, star type role, and I think his presence on the team next year is a very important one for this team.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like after getting a few flashes of what varsity's going to be like, sending him back down to JV, getting him some more minutes, making him work on his craft, have him work on a role that would better suit a varsity team. I think it's going to be great, great practice and work for Charles to prepare himself for the next season.
Especially if Ireland gets a good mid-range shot, he'd be pretty dangerous with his driving ability.
3:57 to play, second quarter. Kicking it out, looking for 3. Instead, they'll work it around. Reese Clark hangs at the top of the key, guarded by Connor Donahue. There's a shot from the corner over the double team, no good. And kept in bounds by St. Joe's Prep. Cutting is Clark, keeps the pivot foot, couldn't finish. Scramble for the rebound, and it is St. Joseph's Prep basketball. Last touch by Donahue. Patience here from St. Joseph's Prep offensively. Now a corner 3, no good. Good box out there. Conroy able to secure the board on the weak side. Donahue in rhythm. Off the pass from Jackson Conroy. LaSalle is back within 2.
LaSalle really stepped it up defensively this quarter, which has led to a great comeback here in a second.
And offensively, they changed they're a bit more faster pace on offense, looking for those, trying to draw in defenders and finding those open shots. I mean, usually 3 so far this year by Conroy and Donahue.
Full timeout on the floor. 18-16 midway through the second quarter. This is the JV game of LaSalle versus St. Joe's Prep, part of a doubleheader here on Bob Long Sports. As we've mentioned at the top of the broadcast and beyond, we will be back for the varsity game, I should say. That begins at 2:30, and it will feature Speedy Morris in his last regular season game. We have a fun broadcast team for that game. Hope you'll enjoy that. It's Paul Romanchik joining us from the annals of Archbishop Carroll High School history. He was a varsity head coach there for 15 years, coached against Speedy for a very long time. Dr. John Giannini, one of the successors of Speedy Morris at LaSalle University, who coached the men's team there for a very long time. And then at halftime, we have a conversation with Richard Prendergast, who is the current color commentator for LaSalle University basketball and was an assistant under Speedy for many, many years at LaSalle University. It's going to be a great time to have those guys on and to have you guys on. Joe Shuron and Patty Heckard, seniors in the class of 2020 for LaSalle. One of you guys will be helping us out on camera, while the other guy at the same time will be helping us out with sideline reporting, getting us a look inside what's going on the benches there, and just generally your thoughts on what you're seeing during the game. So we're doing it big for our last broadcast of the season. Three is no good. That's a good box out by Ireland, able to come up with it. Even as Clark was reaching over the top, the position by Ireland was too good. Looking for the slip. Great job by Caleb Bryant. Couldn't finish with the left hand. And it's going to be a foul against Caleb Bryant, sending it the other way. But such a good offense that time, guys. And Donahue, a great job to draw the second defender and find the cutting off-ball movement from Caleb Bryant.
Yeah, it was a great play. It was a shame it just didn't fall. Man.
Now it seems like the roles are reversed, where LaSalle's offense seems to be pressuring Prep's defense more often.
Prep seems haven't been able to handle the screens by Bryant too well.
That's a deep three. Back iron, no good. And the rebound down to Clark. Last touch by him, though, and out of bounds. That's a healthy three from Austin Hodgins from NBA range on the wing there. 2 minutes to go here in the first half. This for the lead, and it's good, nothing but net. Connor Donahue puts LaSalle up 19-18.
Nice shot off the screen.
Now Hodgins and the rest of this St. Joe's Prep offense have to find a way to get back in it. Here's LaSalle switching defenses again. This is more of a matchup looking defense, and there's some contact. It's going to be Jackson Conroy, not in defensive position when contact was made. One more look, and just the slide there from Conroy was enough to draw the foul. Sean Jennings replaces number 12, Charles Ireland, for LaSalle. Out checks number 1, Austin Hodgins for St. Joe's Prep. 1:22 to play in the first half of the JV game. Varsity game to follow. Off the screen, no. What a rebound that was by the little guy, Liam O'Neill. And a new possession for St. Joe's Prep, Jay Vargas. Clark on the dribble, drive, creates contact, and it's the extension of the off arm that results in the offensive foul. We'll get one more look. Jennings, nice job to slide, stayed in position.
Yeah, definitely creating separation there, using the arm.
Shoulder dip as well. We'll give it back to LaSalle. That's the second personal on Reese Clark, which is certainly of note. LaSalle's comeback in the second quarter here. Certainly significant, but also St. Joe's Prep's best offensive player. Now with 2 fouls, something to at least think about from a playing time perspective and how aggressive he is out there on the floor. Now Cyberlick had the three, steps away. Beautifully done from Connor Cyberlick off the assist from Charles Ireland.
Great fake out there from the three by Cyberlick.
There's a runner, no good. Brought down by St. Joe's Prep. And perhaps they'll reset for the last shot. Liam O'Neill barks out those very instructions. 21 seconds left in the half. Liam O'Neill looks for a screen from Egan. Now Egan takes the basketball, defended by Connor Donahue. Clark spins, baseline, and the lay-in will go. Got the shooter's roll, still plenty of time. 4 seconds left. Cyberlek, that's a good catch. Back for Donahue, puts it up in time. It's good. Count it.
Great shot.
And LaSalle will take a 24-20 lead going into the half. Another look from Donahue right at the horn. Nylon.
Perfect.
Great recovery by Cyberlek, too, to catch that pass and be able to hand it off to Donahue before time expires.
Absolutely. Really nicely done by the Explorers to come back. An impressive quarter of basketball. A significant retread of this game. They were down 9, I believe, heading into the second quarter. Now they go into the half up 4. A good one here, the JV game at LaSalle College High School. Stay with us after this game as well, as we'll keep it all on this link, right where you're watching it right now. Heading into the varsity game, Speedy Morris's last regular season game. St. Joe's Prep is off to the playoffs, so he'll have at least one more game, and that will be a road game of some kind, whether that's against Archbishop Bryan on the road or against Archbishop Carroll on the road is determined by the result of Archbishop Bryan's game this afternoon. Carroll is done at 8-6 in the house, either the 8 seed or the 7 seed. Also St. Joe's Prep with a loss here today and a win by West Catholic over Newman Goretti could fall to the 10 seed. But again, Newman Goretti, the number 3 team in the Catholic League right now, West Catholic, the 10 seed. I'd say somewhat difficult to see that happening, but it would be quite the upset. So we'll have some more information on the seeding considerations throughout the Philadelphia Catholic League playoffs when we get to that D1 game, or I should say the varsity game, and we'll come back for the beginning of the second half in just a few minutes. You're watching LaSalle basketball, a doubleheader here on Bob Long Sports. Bob Long, Joe Shuron, and Patty Heckert alongside. Stay with us.
Nobody knows your neighborhood like Dunphy Ford.
Nearly 40 years.
Right here on Frankfurt Avenue.
Generation after generation. Our neighbors continue to be our customers. We have access to the cars and trucks you want with financing you need.
Dunphy Ford is Northeast Philly's first choice for America's #1 brand. 7700 Frankfurt Avenue in Mayfair. Online at www.dunphyford.com.
Come experience the Dunphy difference. You'll be glad you did.
I chose CCM because I have found that this company, on the level of scaling that we have here, the volume that we are doing, to truly have every department head and employee fully engaged in the mission of the company to make it an originator-focused, production-first company. I have not found that anywhere I've worked, and I've worked one of the largest banks in the world, down to the smallest tiny community bank and correspondent lender. No one has been able to consistently deliver that message.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome into the Nittany Lions Sports Report. Good evening, everybody. Welcome into the Nittany Lions Sports Report live on Bob Long Sports. Today we're going to talk about the offensive line and our man of the hour, the chef, the man himself, Des Holmes and Mike Miranda, your disruptors on the Penn State offensive line.
This year, you're going to see all 4 guys run. They all bring a different style.
The quarterback is going to read the defensive end's eyes and make a determination. Am I going to keep this football or am I going to hand it off to the running back? And that is generally the point of the RPO. Look who we have. We have Chris Perangeli, our guest picker for the evening.
What does your character look like? Does it bounce back after each setback? Does it stand out by standing up? Does it make good on good intentions? Character is invisible until it's not. Only through action will the world know what it's made of, what you're made of. Find out how you can strengthen the character of your community alongside empowered veterans and families of the fallen at travismanion.org.
Nobody knows your neighborhood like Dunphy Ford.
Nearly 40 years.
Right here on Frankfurt Avenue.
Generation after generation, our neighbors continue to be our customers. We have access to the cars and trucks you want with financing you need.
Dunphy Ford is Northeast Philly's first choice for America's #1 brand. 7700 Frankfurt Avenue in Mayfair. Online at www.dunphyford.com.
Come experience the Dunphy difference. You'll be glad you did.
I chose CCM because I have found that this company, on the level of scaling that we have here, the volume that we are doing, to truly have every department head and employee fully engaged in the mission of the company to make it an originator-focused, production-first company. I have not found that anywhere I've worked, and I've worked at one of the largest banks in the world, down to the smallest tiny community bank and correspondent lender. No one has been able to consistently deliver that message.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome into the Nittany Lions Sports Report. Good evening, everybody. Welcome into the Nittany Lions Sports Report live on Bob Long Sports. Today we're going to talk about the offensive line and our man of the hour, the chef, the man himself, Des Holmes and Mike Miranda, your disruptors on the Penn State offensive line.
This year, you're going to see all four guys run. They all bring a different style.
The quarterback is going to read the defensive end's eyes and make a determination. Am I going to keep this football or am I going to hand it off to the running back? And that is generally the point of the RPO. Look who we have. We have Chris Perangeli, our guest picker for the evening.
What does your character look like? Does it bounce back after each setback? Does it stand out by standing up? Does it make good on good intentions? Character is invisible until it's not. Only through action will the world know what it's made of, what you're made of. Find out how you can strengthen the character of your community alongside empowered veterans and families of the fallen at travismanion.org.
Welcome back inside LaSalle College High School, beginning of the third quarter here on Bob Long Sports. LaSalle with a 24-20 lead. Patrick Gallagher is with us on camera. Joe Shuron, Patty Heckard with me on color commentary. We're underway in the third. It's LaSalle, a doubleheader here today. JV at 1 o'clock, and we're in the midst of that. Get knocked out of bounds by St. Joe's Prep. The varsity game at 2:30, and you're seeing the crowd fill in more so than even a normal one. I think the idea is to get here early today for Speedy Morris's last regular season home game. You're seeing folks from the various local news networks here as well. I saw one of our guys that'll be joining us for the second game, Dr. John Giannini. Saw him walk in. He was interviewed by the Eyewitness News team. And we'll get him on our play-by-play group for the second game. A steal there by St. Joe's Prep. Jay Vargas, he's had a nice game this afternoon. St. Joe's Prep manages the offense against the LaSalle man-to-man defense. It's Reese Clark. Egan has it now beyond the arc, and St. Joe's Prep in no particular hurry. Here's a drive and a kick. Egan will launch the three and hit it. And St. Joe's Prep is back within one. Ireland with it now. Gets into the lane, nice kick out. Jackson Conroy got it. And those two have a very nice little bit of chemistry, guys. They have had a few of those where Ireland on the kick, Conroy knows right where to spot up.
They have a good feel for each other's game and kind of think like each other. They see, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like they kind of can figure out where the other one's going to go, just kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, they see the game very similarly.
Telepathic kind of play.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully they can keep it up as they move up next year to varsity level.
Absolutely. Both of those guys, juniors, heading towards their senior year next year, finishing up the last of their 2019-2020 season. And Conroy got a hand on that one defensively, knocked it into the St. Joe's Prep bench. Hawks basketball. 4:57 to go in the third quarter. Vargas runs the point for the Hawks, dressed in the road maroon uniforms. And great positioning inside. Two power dribbles. Gets Reese Clark to the basket.
Clark is just a force inside.
Back cutting Jennings. Extra dribble, couldn't put it up and in. Got it up with the left hand. Might have been able to put it up with the strong hand if he didn't put it on the ground. Clark fouled, contact on his way to the rim. A shooting foul will send him to the line, a chance to take the lead. 4:21 to play in the third quarter. Connor Cyberlick checks in, replacing Sean Jennings. For those of you just joining us, this is the 1 o'clock JV game, part of a doubleheader here on Bob Long Sports. The varsity game at 2:30 will feature LaSalle's Senior Day. We'll have introductions for Liam O'Donnell, Brian Cawley, Matt Spinelli, Mike DePietro, and Jake Timby. And then it's also Speedy Morris's last regular season game as a coach in Philadelphia. His track record needs no introduction. Great cut there by Cyberlick. Good find by Donahue. And LaSalle extends the lead to 3. Those two guys as well. We talked about Ireland and Conroy having the good connection between one another. We've seen that twice now as well. Donahue to Cyberlick. That's a great back cut off the ball.
And LaSalle being able to find that that side jump shot, 2 scoring drives in a row.
Tough shot there by Vargas, brought down by Donahue. Numbers here for LaSalle. He'll attack it himself, and a foul called as Vargas left the feet. Make that Reese Clark that left his feet.
Good draw by Donahue there, making sure to hesitate, making Clark draw the foul, and getting Clark up to his third.
A tip on the pass maybe prevented Donahue from putting that up, but Conroy will launch and hit. And LaSalle heating up here in the third quarter of the JV game. Timeout called by St. Joseph's Prep with LaSalle in the lead, 31-25, 3:22 to go here in the third quarter. Boys, your thoughts either on this one or what we're going to see in the next game? Your thoughts on a doubleheader here for LaSalle today?
Well, so far I think it's really interesting that we're able to see the JV, both JV teams play and then see senior day afterwards. We're able to see where these kids might fit in to the varsity team next year, see what kind of roles they have, and then we go to senior day right after and send off our seniors on the last game for LaSalle basketball.
Yeah, it would be great, certainly for the Explorers. And on Speedy's last day, you know the St. Joe's Prep team is going to come out to play very, very hard. LaSalle certainly the same. Their last time all playing together. It is somewhat unfortunate for the Explorers. They had put themselves in a position potentially to get into the playoffs on the last day with a win here. For those of you that were watching us on Friday night when LaSalle hung very tough against Archbishop Wood and the Vikings, just too good. The #1 team in the PCL right now. They were able to grow their lead into the second half and win that basketball game. But what LaSalle fans were really keeping their eyes on once that game got a little bit away from the Explorers was a game between West Catholic and Devon Prep. And if Devon Prep had won that game, anything but a West Catholic win today against Newman Goretti would have allowed LaSalle the opportunity with a win here today against St. Joe's Prep to at least play in to the playoffs on either Monday or Tuesday for the traditional start to the playoffs on Wednesday. So the opportunity there certainly stood. We saw that game be tight within about 2 points, a differential each quarter all the way to the fourth, and then it was headed to overtime, headed into double overtime. That three's no good from St. Joe's Prep. And then finally, West Catholic squeaked out a 2-point win to lock up their playoff spot and eliminate both LaSalle and Devon Prep. There's Donahue running through the lane, and LaSalle, their largest lead of the afternoon, led by Donahue in part. He and Conroy have had great offensive afternoons. A drive inside, high off the window, no, got his own rebound. And I tell you what, Reese Clark single-handedly keeping the Prep in this basketball game.
They have not had an answer for him yet in the paint. Clark.
Ireland, Euro step, but that was one too many.
About 3 Euro steps there on that, that layup attempt.
He'll take a seat, 2:13 to play. And that one was a little bit awkward looking as well, kind of the way he came to a stop, almost think of a balk in baseball.
Got held up a bit in the paint.
A shot by Vargas, in and out, and couldn't be kept in. There were two Explorers in the area, a bit of friendly fire. Knocked out of bounds by Charlie Harrington, the sophomore. Blocking foul called against Isaiah Turner. A little bit of a mismatch there on the outside. I don't think LaSalle particularly minds that foul. Just the second on Turner, and it at least gives LaSalle's defense an opportunity to reset. Team second here. That's a great entry pass. Couldn't finish. But Reese Clark got a mismatch inside. Donahue was fronting him. And the lob over the top will set up 2 shots at the foul line for Reese Clark, number 14. Sean Jennings checks in for Connor Cyberlick. 1:41 to play, third quarter. And again, some trouble from Harrington bringing it down. An unconventional three-point play, but a three-point play nonetheless for St. Joe's Prep brings them within 3. Some contact there, a clear foul on number 23, Franco Liuzzi. Jackson Conroy looks no worse for the wear. Got undercut as he left his feet. 1:25 to play, although the clock stopped. Got to get that one moving. There it goes. A long three for Donahue. Back iron, no. A long rebound. They'll just let that one go out of bounds. Guys, your thoughts here. Last 76 seconds of this quarter. A big point in this game. LaSalle had as many as an 8-point lead. Quick 5-0 spurt here by St. Joe's Prep. Your thoughts heading into the last minute of this third quarter and into the fourth?
I think if I'm Prep, I'm going to set this up to be the best shot I could possibly take, or not.
Are you, Joe? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on your side, but that was not that. So now LaSalle, Joe, they have some flexibility. What they want to do. 50 seconds left in the quarter, I should say.
I'd say try and run a play. If it works, I take the good shot, but if not, try and hold it.
It's a good catch there by Bryant. He's fouled. Neither team in foul trouble, just the third team foul against St. Joe's Prep.
Back on what Joe was saying is, like, if for LaSalle, if there's an open shot, I mean, it's an open shot, you might as well take it. But if they're able to set up a play and really take their time to facilitate a well-structured play, get themselves open, and end this quarter off a nice shot, I think LaSalle's going to look to doing that.
A lot of contact there. Sean Jennings forces the issue. Wonderfully done that time by the LaSalle sophomore. And there's a contact. He'll shoot 2 at the line, and that's, I think, exactly what you guys are talking about there. That's a great shot for the Explorers. Bit long on that foul shot from Jennings. 32 seconds left in the quarter. JV game number 1 of our doubleheader here on Bob Long Sports. Stay with us. We'll be on this link. We won't go anywhere. As we get ready for the varsity game, St. Joe's Prep nearly gives it away, but now numbers for the Hawks. That's a wild shot, and Isaiah Turner, maybe the official, bails him out a little bit there.
That's really just kind of threw that one up when he saw he was getting bumped a little bit there.
And that's when I think if you're Turner, you might be able to recognize that and just back off. Let him take his chances off balance. Wild offhand shot like that.
Yeah.
Jennings hit 1 of 2 on the other end. Vargas hits his first. It's a 3-point game. And he goes 1 of 2 as well. Not a good foul there. 25 seconds left. A foul 94 feet from the basket. Liam O'Neill picks up the foul. Conroy to take his time. Has to get it across the timeline and does. Had it without about a second or second and a half to spare by my count. Pretty easy call there. That's the 4th against Reese Clark. Not smart basketball whatsoever, and that's one you'll get called against you 100 times out of 100.
Perhaps picking up some bad fouls here in the last 20 seconds to end the quarter here.
And he stays on the floor. I mean, what in the world? It's only a defensive possession. The only thing that can happen is something bad for him. He doesn't foul this time, now down to 1. A heave at the horn won't go. And it's LaSalle 34, St. Joe's Prep 31 through 3 quarters. I just have to reiterate, that was one of the most baffling non-substitution decisions that I've ever seen. 12 seconds left in the quarter. The opposition has the ball, and your best player has 4 fouls. Wouldn't you take him out at that point?
I mean, the decision of fouling itself is still kind of mind-boggling.
Sure.
I mean, there's 20 seconds left in the third quarter, and he's already on 3 fouls. There's no reason for him to reach in, try to get a last-second steal in the third quarter. So, I mean, and then the decision on top of that to not sub him out just really does not make any sense to me.
Yeah, going off that he didn't even sub him out, it's looking like he might just leave him in to start the 4th here. I mean, looks like he's just going to take his chances and hope he doesn't pick up too.
Sure. Yeah, and I mean, I would understand that even a little bit more, because at least he'll be on the offensive side of the ball. 12 seconds with the opposition having the basketball. Only one thing can happen there, and it's not good. But they stave off that issue, and they trail by 4. St. Joe's Prep does, heading into the fourth quarter. You're watching LaSalle College High School basketball, a doubleheader here. This is the JV game at 1 o'clock. That poor woman walking across the huddle there had a whistle blown right in her ear. She's just trying to find a seat. It's a good opportunity to come out here and do this JV game. We've seen these guys over the course of the year as we've set up for the varsity games, and we thought the last game of the season, why not come out here and call this one? Excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, definitely, and I feel like gives a good. I feel like it's a good like event for the JV team to have this kind of broadcast for their own games instead of just for varsity.
Yeah, it's great. They come out here, they switch defenses again. Impressive, their ability to do that. A driving cut to the hole, offensive foul. Great job by Barczyk to stand in there and take the contact. One more look, Barczyk number 4 slides across. Yeah, he might have been moving there, but he gets the benefit of the offensive foul call. And LaSalle leads by 3 with 6:43 to go in the fourth and final quarter of regulation. Kept in bounds, Bryant's gonna come up with it. And a good back cut by Barczyk, he's fouled. He'll shoot 2 at the line with 6:34 to play.
That's 2 straight fouls for Vargas too, and in a span of less than 30 seconds.
And now Prep is, what, 18 fouls, and Salle being a one-on-one bonus now, right?
That's right. That was a shooting foul.
I think that's 4 for Vargas and for Clark.
It is. That's right. So now it will be Vargas to come to the bench, and like you said, Joe, foul disparity there. Still a 1-and-1 for LaSalle. On the next foul, then they'd be in the double bonus the rest of the way, and they couldn't grab the offensive rebound. Here comes St. Joe's Prep. Reese Clark trailing by 4. Into traffic, and a blocking foul is called. We'll get one more look at that one. Clark was headed really to nowhere there, was driving at the baseline, clanked this one off the side of the backboard. There's the contact, certainly by Bryant. He picks up his 3rd personal. It's 35-33, closest it's been since the second quarter. 6:20 to go. Bob Long, Joe Shuron, Patty Heckard here on the broadcast team. Patrick Gallagher's with us on camera. Great back cut. Ireland puts it in. One power dribble to get away from the defender, and LaSalle leads by 4.
Ireland is so good in the post. He has so many good post moves, and the off-ball movement there was great.
Double dribble. Pretty easy call. That's Tom Hart. Just grasps the ball with both hands and put it back down. Pretty simple. Yeah. And Hart will check out, replaced by Egan. Donahue with the logo. LaSalle buoyed by a 4-point lead. Cyberlek thought about the 3. Now gets into the elbow area. Couldn't quite hit it. Franklin up the floor. He'll pick up his dribble in a tough spot. And LaSalle back into the 2-3 zone defensively. 5:22 to go. Clark, extra pass. Here's a 3. Stepping into it, no good. Bryant all alone rebounding. And Donahue will take his time. Nice pass there. Now with his back to the basket, it's Donahue, and he'll filter it back up to the top. Donahue avoided one defender, put it off the glass, and good. What an excellent move that time by Connor Donahue.
Went around the whole court.
Great work by LaSalle, having both Ireland and Donahue with the work down low with both the layups.
Yeah, that's a great move there. There was a defender poking away at him beyond the arc. The defender maybe got just a piece, but he retained control. That kind of took that defender out of the play. That was the chance that defender took. And then sliced right to the hole, unafraid. Connor Donahue, a good-looking guard that looks to factor in the future for this LaSalle varsity team.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great shot and great driving ability. Paired with Ireland, they could be pretty good.
It's a full timeout on the floor. One more reminder that we're broadcasting the LaSalle versus St. Joseph's Prep JV game here as we head towards the second half of our doubleheader, which will be the varsity game at 2:30. A special broadcast team alongside Paul Romanchik, 15-year head coach at Archbishop Carroll, a guy that's played a game or two against Speedy Morris. John Giannini succeeded Speedy Morris at LaSalle University, coaching their men's team. And then we're also going to have Richard Prendergast, a longtime Speedy Morris assistant and a guy who got to know Speedy Morris very well outside the bounds of the basketball court. We're going to have Prendergast on at halftime for, we'll call it more of a roundtable discussion about Speedy Morris and his legacy. So we're really excited for that. Also, you guys helping us out with sideline reporting. So getting everything we can here out of this last broadcast of the season. Have to do it upright for LaSalle's closing game, their senior night, which we'll have, and I'm fortunate to do public address for, and then Speedy Morris's last regular season game.
Quite an all-star lineup for the last game of the season.
That's right. And I'm here too. 4:30 to go. Egan, corner three was blocked. That'll stay with St. Joe's Prep. Oh, that's not the right call.
Then he shoot it and it went out.
Well, I thought Bryant got a block. I thought that's why he was coming up 5 feet short and hit the side of the backboard, but all right. Yeah, St. Joe's Prep rightly disappointed in that call. That's, as far as I could tell, not the right call. Charles Ireland, he's blocked. That's pretty good defense with 4 fouls nonetheless. And now Ireland picks up the personal foul with 4:10 to play. 6th team foul on the Explorers. Only Ireland's first, personally. It's a blocking foul called against Charles Ireland. Bob Zanio doesn't like it, but I think you're going to see a slide here. And unless he lowers the shoulder, I still think that's a pretty good call there. You're not going to get the benefit of that.
Definitely think that Coach Zanio was looking for the call with the arm used by number 4.
Sure, agreed. And that's Chris Franklin, number 4. Front end of the 1-and-1, no good. So no harm, no foul there. But Ireland does pick up 2 personals in the span of about 15 seconds. Those his only 2 fouls of the afternoon. Entry pass into Caleb Bryant. That was a wild shot there. A hand grenade head up towards the rim. It's a 6-point lead for LaSalle. 3 minutes, 45 seconds to play in the 4th quarter. There's a step back for Clark. It's good. Reese Clark says, I'm taking this one into my own hands. Back to a 1-possession game. Careening towards the finish here at LaSalle College High School. Donahue, a lot of contact, finished it anyway. Nicely done.
You wonder why Clark waited so long to take his first three of the game. He was left open many times during the first half, but decided not to take the shot.
You're absolutely right. That was a lot more contested, Patty, than some of those other ones he could have taken. Maybe he does it again. Thought about the step back there. Nicely defended by Jackson Conroy. It's good defense there by Cyberlek. Could have been an offensive foul. Franklin extended the arm. Now a 3 in and out. Conroy got whacked in the back of the head by Franklin. He's making no friends on the other side of the floor here today. That's twice on this possession. LaSalle took some umbrage with contact from Franklin. Clark no good. That time it is another offensive rebound for St. Joe's Prep. Franklin, extra pass. There's Clark. Through the lane, blocking foul called against Caleb Bryant. A slide to the baseline. Will send him to the line for 2. He was in the act of shooting. And there is that slide from Bryant.
Prep is content with living or dying by how Clark's going to play, and rightfully so.
They got Brian out of the game off his 4th, so gonna feel like they're gonna take advantage of that with Brian, their LaSalle's tallest player, not out of the game. Take advantage down low.
Wow. So that was a 1-and-1. I missed that call. That sure looked to me like he was going into the act of shooting and should have been a 2-shot foul. Wow, Bob Zanio called for a timeout. I thought Cyberlick had the ball, was not granted it. Held ball, possession arrow to LaSalle, but again, both sides of the floor, both teams affected. I did not find that to be appropriately officiated on that last particular play. That was a timeout that should have been granted when Cyberlick had possession of the ball.
Definitely seems like a bit of a makeup call.
Could be. But LaSalle got it anyway out of the alternate possession. Isaiah Turner banging away, too strong. And there's a jump ball. I bet you can guess who has the possession arrow this time. It'll be St. Joe's Prep basketball.
Real aggressive drive by Turner, turning into Clark, trying to get that layup.
It's a great effort by Jennings and Clark to go for the rebound, too.
1:51 to play, 4th quarter. St. Joe's Prep needs a bucket here. It's getting late early from LaSalle College High School. And a blocking foul call, just what the doctor ordered here for St. Joseph's Prep, but so important for the Hawks to hit their foul shots. This still the front end of the 1-and-1, as that's LaSalle's 9th team foul, 3rd against Charles Ireland. He came into the 4th quarter with no personals. And Vargas, that's a huge free throw there, Joe, for him.
Yeah. I mean, they've been having to hit these free throws in the 4th. They missed a couple, and I mean, if they would have made some more, they'd probably be on top.
It's a 4-point game now, and 1 of 2. So now LaSalle in full control. They have the 4-point lead. Donahue has to get it across the timeline, and he does. Hounded the whole way. Timeout called by Bob Zanio. Full timeout with 1:27 to play. Bear in mind, St. Joe's Prep only with 18 fouls, so they can go for the steal early on, but shouldn't be afraid necessarily to foul, extend the basketball game, knowing that LaSalle would have to shoot the 1-and-1. A miss certainly allows them to be right back in this basketball game, but I do think it's steal first for, I hate to put a time frame on it, 15, 20 seconds, something like that. They're around 1:20 to play in this game. But you kind of take the situation as it comes, look for the steal, and then foul as needed.
And the thing is with Prep, their defensive game plan and style will become really risky as the game goes on, because Vargas is their top stealer currently with 4 and also has 4 fouls. So missing a steal could turn into a reach and potentially fouling out of the game.
You're right. You got to be very careful in that respect. There's no doubt about that. Decision time for both teams. LaSalle will get the basketball. Joe, your thoughts if you're in this LaSalle huddle right now, led by head coach Bob Zanio?
I think you go for the safe inbound pass. Just throw to whoever's open and try and work it back up to the top to try and bleed clock and force a foul with a good free throw shooter having the ball. So,
bear in mind, you're across midcourt now as well. This area is a really desirable area to inbound the ball from. The entire floor is open. LaSalle can utilize the backcourt as needed. They're going to spread this one way out wide. Jennings to inbound. And Turner, probably not the guy. That was the last resort for the Explorers. Definitely. Ireland now double teamed. Timeout called again by Bob Zanio. Good timing there, because it was uncertain to me whether Charles Ireland would have been permitted to put that ball on the turf again.
Double dribble.
He kind of batted it to the ground, not your traditional dribble, but sometimes that's something that will be counted. And a second dribble might have been double dribble. I think he realized that.
Now we're seeing what Prep was doing great during the first quarter, which is their pressure on defense. I mean, LaSalle's really struggling to combat against their pressure, and we'll see if they can deal with it towards for the last minute of the game.
About $1:20 to go here. Fourth quarter, final minute of play. LaSalle with a 41-37 lead. Sorry for the digital graphic. We've been saying 4. The digital graphic has said 3. That's just an oversight on my part. But yes, fourth quarter, 1:20 exactly to go. LaSalle with a 41-37 lead, a 4-point cushion over the St. Joe's Prep Hawks. JV, game number 1 here of our doubleheader. And the big one, Varsity, coming up next, but a lot to be decided in the last few minutes. Jennings able to pop open. Such a good ball handler. He'll pull this one back.
Had the open lane there. I think he's looking to keep the ball longer to take some time off the clock.
And force St. Joe's Prep. Out of bounds. Last touched by Liam O'Neill for St. Joe's Prep.
I was surprised somebody just didn't run up and foul Jennings. He's not a great free throw shooter or anything. They could have tried to take their chance with the one-on-one there.
Donahue double team, Jennings there. And to your point, Joe, St. Joe's Prep does need to decide who they would want to shoot foul shots and direct the ball there. I don't know that it's that guy.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the smartest person to foul. But
Connor Donahue, a great shooter. It's almost as if they came out of the huddle saying, hey, what's it, 56 seconds left. Hey, you can let 20 seconds go off the clock. Once that comes off, foul the next guy. If indeed that was the mantra, I don't think that's the right idea, as mentioned. 2:11 the time of day. The varsity game scheduled for 2:30. That looks to be going a little bit late. And then, God forbid, overtime here at the JV level. This could
love a JV overtime game.
The old JV overtime. The bank at the last second to send it to overtime. If you ask Philadelphia Inquirer or City of Basketball Love journalists, ask them sometime what their thoughts are on JV overtime. LaSalle wants nothing to do with JV overtime because they have the 4-point cushion here at home, trying to end their season with a bang against their arch rival, St. Joe's Prep. And a nice season headed by Bob Zanio and his coaching staff. A lot of guys that are learning what it is to be the guy, to be a scorer, or in some cases to even be a role player, and to take that to the next level at varsity next year. A lot of the faces you're seeing here will be on your screens through Bob Long Sports Broadcast in years in the future at the varsity level. Lane violation. We'll send it back the other way. St. Joe's Prep basketball, 56 seconds left. Full court look here from LaSalle. No need to foul.
Brian slipping up early.
Tom Hart with it now. He's struggling to get rid of it. A tip, and they'll reset. Hart wanted it back on the other side. That's wide open for Egan in the corner. No good. Nice rebound and finish by number 3, Tom Hart. His first points of the day. Double team. Donahue in trouble. I don't think LaSalle has a timeout. And now here comes Jennings the other way. Numbers for the Explorers. Double bonus the rest of the way. Ireland will go after it anyway, and it didn't go.
I don't know if that was the smartest of choices. I felt like holding on the ball longer, taking that time off the clock would have been smarter.
Chance for the tie. No good. Rebound for Ireland. This time he does just collect the foul. 8.2 left to go. And one foul shot could just about can it here for LaSalle.
Such an unlucky layup by Ireland, too. That rolled all the way around the rim and came back out.
I think he's lucky he got the rebound there, because that shot would have went in. I think Ireland would have been in a little trouble there.
Timeout called by St. Joe's Prep, trying to ice Charles Ireland. Stay with us after the conclusion of this one. See Paul Romanchik making his way up right now. He will be joining us right in the center of your screen, actually. Good to see you, Paul. We'll have you on in just a little bit here. Excited to have a great broadcast team. And our guys here, class of 2020, Joe Shuron, Patty Heckard, will help us out on the sideline reporting end of things. We haven't done that yet this year. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Yeah, real fun.
Get those lungs tuned up. 2 games in a day.
It's been a great game here today, too. So a lot of expectations for the varsity to live up to how good this game was.
Absolutely, and the student section is packed in now, as well as the rest of the gym. This is going to be standing room only, without a doubt, here today. Sometimes games like these can actually end up with more fans in the building than what you would see last year in a sellout where they stopped the sale of tickets. It's so tough if you're not just saying, hey, if, once we get to this level and what we sell in the office, we're done. If you get a lot of tickets sold but not all of them and you're accepting walk-ups, it can be difficult to find exactly what the capacity of this place is going to be. Charles Ireland hit that first free throw. That was a huge one. 4-point lead. Make that a 5-point lead. And Charles Ireland, big stones there at the end, hits the free throws in a clutch moment. And LaSalle is just about salted this one away. JV game number 1. We're coming your way right after this. Here's a long 3 by Egan, no good. Rebound Bryant. That'll end it. The LaSalle JV team, a 44-39 winner over St. Joe's Prep. A debut for us here on Bob Long Sports calling JV basketball at LaSalle. We appreciated the opportunity to do so and enjoyed the time. Guys, your thoughts?
I thought it was a great matchup today. Both teams really fought till the end. Clark definitely had his way with the Explorers for the most part of the game, but the Explorers, on the other hand, Connor Donahue's big 3 to end the second quarter really set the tone for how the Explorers came out and dominated the second half.
I definitely think this was great work by LaSalle JV because during the first quarter we had a 5-14 scoreline towards the end of it, and they were able to work past the pressure of Prep, change up their game plan, and end this game off with a win.
Good stuff, guys. Hey, I appreciate the time. It was great having you guys on. Thanks for all your work all year. I know you're not done. We'll be back for the second game, but really just want to say here on the air that you guys have been a wonderful addition to this broadcast team this year.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Bob, for having us on and reaching out and everything, and it's been an honor to be a part of it.
Well, we'll be following along with you guys, and I know both of you guys are at least considering broadcast journalism for the next stage of your career, so we'll be following along with your successes. Stay in touch with us as well, and we'll stay in touch throughout the years. It's been great.
Of course.
Take care, everyone. We'll be back, so stay with us. Take care for, we'll say, the next 10-15 minutes. Paul Romanchik will join us, Dr. John Giannini, and then Richard Prendergast at half. Speedy Morris's last game upcoming here on Bob Long Sports, and senior night for LaSalle. I'm honored to do a little bit of public address to introduce everybody as well. So it should be a fun second half of this doubleheader. We'll be right back.
Nobody knows your neighborhood like Dunphy Ford.
Nearly 40 years.
Right here on Frankfurt Avenue.
Generation after generation, our neighbors continue to be our customers. We have access to the cars and trucks you want with financing you need.
Dunphy Ford is Northeast Philly's first choice for America's #1 brand. 7700 Frankfurt Avenue in Mayfair. Online at www.dunphyford.com.
Come experience the Dunphy difference. You'll be glad you did.
I chose CCM because I have found that this company, on the level of scaling that we have here, the volume that we are doing, to truly have every department head and employee fully engaged in the mission of the company to make it an originator-focused, production-first company. I have not found that anywhere I've worked, and I've worked one of the largest banks in the world, down to the smallest tiny community bank and correspondent lender. No one has been able to consistently deliver that message.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome into the Nittany Lions Sports Report. Good evening, everybody. Welcome into the Nittany Lions Sports Report live on Bob Long Sports. Today we're going to talk about the offensive line and our man of the hour, the chef, the man himself,
Des Holmes and Mike Miranda, your disruptors on the Penn State offensive line.
This year, you're going to see all 4 guys run. They all bring a different style.
The quarterback is going to read the defensive end's eyes and make a determination. Am I going to keep this football or am I going to hand it off to the running back? And that is generally the point of the RPO. Look who we have. We have Chris Perangeli, our guest picker for the evening.
What does your character look like? Does it bounce back after each?
Ready? Good afternoon, everyone. That's not it. How do I do this? Good afternoon, everyone. Please direct your attention to center court and the south end of the gymnasium for a special presentation. Today's game against St. Joseph's Prep marks the final game for our seniors, all of whom have made valuable contributions to our program. Today, we honor them and express our gratitude to their parents for all their support. Please join us in recognizing these young men who will be accompanied by their parents and greeted at center court by head coach Mike McKee. We'll start with the senior managers. First, AJ Carabello, accompanied by his parents, Chris and Mary Jean. Senior manager Gavin, accompanied by his parents, Patrick and Eileen. And now for your LaSalle College High School basketball seniors. First, Shane Holland, accompanied by his parents, Gary and Robin. Liam O'Donnell, accompanied by his parents, Charles and Ann. Brian Cawley, accompanied by his parents, Joe and Elaine, and his brother, Matthew, LaSalle, class of 2024. Matt Spinelli, accompanied by his parents, Matt and Lottie, as well as his sister Gianna and his brother Luke. Mike DePietro, accompanied by his parents Mike and Charlotte. Jake Timby, accompanied by his parents Tom and Lynn, and his sister Ashley. Please join me in thanking these players, managers, and their parents for their dedication to LaSalle College High School and to this basketball program. We wish them well as they move on to college. And that concludes Senior Day celebrations here at LaSalle College High School. We'll be right back with more as we prepare for tip-off.
Nobody knows your neighborhood like Dunphy Ford.
Nearly 40 years.
Right here on Frankfurt Avenue.
Generation after generation, our neighbors continue to be our customers. We have access to the cars and trucks you want with financing you need.
Dunphy Ford is Northeast Philly's first choice for America's #1 brand. 7700 Frankfurt Avenue in Mayfair. Online at www.dunphyford.com.
Come experience the Dunphy difference. You'll be glad you did.
I chose CCM because I have found that this company, on the level of scaling that we have here, the volume that we are doing, to truly have every department head and employee fully engaged in the mission of the company to make it an originator-focused, production-first company. I have not found that anywhere I've worked, and I've worked at one of the largest banks in the world, down to the smallest tiny community bank and correspondent lender. No one has been able to consistently deliver that message.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome into the Nittany Lions Sports Report. Good evening, everybody. Welcome into the Nittany Lions Sports Report live on Bob Long Sports. Today we're going to talk about the offensive line and our man of the hour, the chef, the man himself, Des Holmes and Mike Miranda, your disruptors on the Penn State offensive line.
This year, you're going to see all four guys run. They all bring a different style.
The quarterback is going to read the defensive end's eyes and make a determination. Am I going to keep this football or am I going to hand it off to the running back? And that is generally the point of the RPO. Look who we have. We have Chris Perangeli, our guest picker for the evening.
What does your character look like? Does it bounce back after each setback? Does it stand out by standing up? Does it make good on good intentions? Character is invisible until it's not. Only through action will the world know what it's made of, what you're made of. Find out how you can strengthen the character of your community alongside empowered veterans and families of the fallen at travismanion.org.
Nobody knows your neighborhood like Dunphy Ford.
Nearly 40 years.
Right here on Frankfurt Avenue.
Generation after generation, our neighbors continue to be our customers. We have access to the cars and trucks you want with financing you need.
Dunphy Ford is Northeast Philly's first choice for America's #1 brand. 7700 Frankfurt Avenue in Mayfair. Online at www.dunphyford.com.
Come experience the Dunphy difference. You'll be glad you did.
I chose CCM because I have found that this company, on the level of scaling that we have here, the volume that we are doing, to truly have every department head and employee fully engaged in the mission of the company to make it an originator-focused, production-first company. I have not found that anywhere I've worked, and I've worked at one of the largest banks in the world, down to the smallest tiny community bank and correspondent lender. No one has been able to consistently deliver that message.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome into the Nittany Lions Sports Report. Good evening, everybody. Welcome into the Nittany Lions Sports Report live on Bob Long Sports. Today we're going to talk about the offensive line and our man of the hour, the chef, the man himself, Des Holmes and Mike Miranda, your disruptors on the Penn State offensive line.
This year, you're going to see all four guys run. They all bring a different style.
The quarterback is going to read the defensive end's eyes and make a determination. Am I going to keep this football or am I going to hand it off to the running back? And that is generally the point of the RPO. Look who we have. We have Chris Perangeli, our guest picker for the evening.
What does your character look like? Does it bounce back after each setback? Does it stand out by standing up? Does it make good on good intentions? Character is invisible until it's not. Only through action will the world know what it's made of, what you're made of. Find out how you can strengthen the character of your community alongside empowered veterans and families of the fallen at travismanion.org.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome inside LaSalle College High School for the varsity game, game 2 of our doubleheader here on Bob Long Sports. So excited to bring on two legends of the game here. We bring you inside our broadcast booth. Paul Romanchek to my left, Dr. John Giannini here alongside. Guys, we wanted to bring you out here on Speedy Morris's last regular season game because of his career and how many lives he's touched. You guys, I count you guys among those that he has touched over his time. What was so special about Speedy from start to finish from his basketball career here in Philadelphia?
Well, I think you touched on it as far as his impact and I guess the tentacles along the Philadelphia area. I mean, if you've played basketball, you've coached basketball in this area, you've been touched by Speedy one way or another. I mean, I was fortunate enough to not only play against him, but coach against him for 15 years, and now I'm coming full circle and broadcasting a game he does. So.
Well, it's interesting. Paul played for Fran Dunphy, who was the winningest Big Five coach in Philadelphia history, and he learned as a Speedy Morris assistant. I see right now Joe Mihalik this year beat UCLA at Pauley Pavilion. He has his team in first place in the Colonial Athletic Conference, and he learned under Speedy Morris as an assistant coach. So you can go on and on about the coaches he's mentored. For myself, I didn't work with Speedy, but following him at LaSalle, he really wanted me to be successful, and that meant so much to me. He supported the program. He encouraged me. He was a true friend. And it wasn't just Speedy. One of the things I like about Speedy as a role model is you think, how do you have balance in life? Be great professionally and also have a great family life. Well, Speedy does that better than anybody. Mimi and Chris and Brian and Keith, the whole family supported me in LaSalle basketball, and I just admire them as people, and of course, coaches on the court success is obvious.
Speedy Morris's journey to this point, well documented, but stints at Roman Catholic High School, stints at LaSalle University, men's and women's, St. Joe's Prep for a very long time here. Paul, I'll defer to you now. You were a guy that coached against him. You mentioned playing against him as well at Penn, but to coach against him for 15 years in this Catholic League, what's that like? What is it like going into a game at Kelly Fieldhouse knowing that Speedy is sitting there on the opposing bench?
Well, it's daunting looking across that court and seeing someone who has won more games than you could even, imagine coaching. When I first entered the league as a head coach in 2002, the 2002-2003 season, Speedy ended up being the standard bearer for the league. It was them, it was Newman Goretti, and it was Roman Catholic, and you were just hoping to be the fourth seed possibly. We were lucky enough to do that in my first season, but they went on. They had great teams right from the beginning of my tenure as a coach, and you always knew that you had to come very prepared to play against a Speedy Morris team, and even then, it was difficult to score against them with the matchup zone that he would employ a lot of times. And then, like I said, he's had a number of very good players that he empowered and kids that played with real confidence under him. And, it's just, it was a daunting task and one that, when early on, I thought to myself, man, a lot of people talk about Speedy and some are saying, man, we can't stand prep and this and that. Well, I wanted to be that guy. I wanted to be the guy that people couldn't stand, and the program, they couldn't stand our program. I was the likable loser at first, but I wanted to be Speedy Morris and someone that people looked up to, and he meant a lot and was very influential in my career. It was always very complimentary of me and my teams early on. So for that, I thank him.
And John, for you, the legacy that he left at LaSalle University, all those years you spent there, what was it like to be, not certainly the shadow per se, but the legacy that he left?
Well, it really helped recruiting, because most of the parents of the people I was recruiting are basketball people, and because of their age, when they were coming up is when Coach Morris had his great team. So LaSalle had immediate name recognition because it was linked with the 31 win team that was ranked 11th in the country with Lionel Simmons and Doug Overton and Randy Woods and, of course, Tim Legler. And the name LaSalle brought immediate respect. Of course it did, going back to the goalie years and the Kenny Durrett years, but for the people I recruited, their parents remembered Coach Morris's teams, and that brought LaSalle immediate credibility.
Well, I appreciate your perspective. We'll be diving into you guys for that over the course of this broadcast, but appreciate that. We have a special presentation coming up on the floor. We'll direct everybody's attention to there now. Speedy Morris, his last regular season coaching game, happens to come on the road at his arch rival, LaSalle College High School. What better way for him to go out? Chris Carabello on public address. He'll take us from here.
Good afternoon and welcome to LaSalle College High School for Senior Day and today's Philadelphia Catholic League matchup between LaSalle and St. Joseph's Preparatory School. A special welcome to our seniors and their families. Welcome to the officials who will work today's game: Sean Tucker, Martin Spencer, and Tim Smith. The Philadelphia Catholic League, Pennsylvania Interscholastic Athletic Association, and LaSalle College High School promote and encourage good sportsmanship. We ask that you be positive in supporting your team. Please avoid abusive or inappropriate language. We ask that you accept the decisions of today's PIAA officials as fair and impartial. Thank you for your cooperation. At this time, we would ask that you please rise, remove your hats, and be mindful that we are always and everywhere in the holy presence of God. In his meditations, St. John Baptist of LaSalle reminds his followers, "You have made responsible for these children, just as St. Joseph was made responsible by God for the Savior of the world. This is also the first care you ought to have in your work if you wish to imitate St. Joseph, who had nothing more at heart than to provide for the needs of the child Jesus." We pause at the beginning of this game to ask God that we may have nothing more at heart than providing guidance to and fostering growth within the young men of LaSalle College High School and St. Joseph's Prep. Whether we are parents, teachers, coaches, alumni, or fellow students, we ask that God give us the grace to fulfill well the responsibility He entrusts us with, educating the minds, forming the characters, and nurturing the spirits of young men who engage the world and its needs with integrity, fairness, and generosity. We ask these things through Christ our Lord. Amen. St. John Baptist of LaSalle, pray for us. Live St. Joseph, pray for us. Live Jesus in our hearts forever. Please remain standing as we honor America, our men and women in the armed forces, and veterans of military service with the playing of our national anthem, performed this afternoon by LaSalle senior Luke Opielski. Starting lineups for today's game. First, for the visiting Hawks of St. Joseph's Prep. Number 1, a 6'3" senior, Trevor Wall. Number 2, a 6'1" junior, Jimmy King. Number 3, a 6'4" senior, Chris Harrison. Number 5, a 5'10" senior, Mike Keating. And number 10, a 5'11" senior, Brian Gatens. After 52 seasons and in his final regular season game as coach of the Hawks, please welcome the legendary Bill Speedy Morris. And now the starting lineup for your Explorers of LaSalle. Number 3, a 5'11" senior, Shane Howard. Number 5, a 6'1" senior, Link O'Donnell. Number 23, a 6'5" freshman, Morris Simmons. Number 33, a 6'5" senior, Mike DiPietro. And number 30, a 5'11" senior, Jay Tindy. In his second season, LaSalle was coached by Mike McKee.
And now we're ready for basketball here in Winmore, Pennsylvania. Bob Long, Paul Romancic, and we have Dr. John Giannini with us here as well, your broadcast team. Guys, appreciate the time here. It's a great atmosphere, a packed house here at LaSalle, and a worthy cause for it. Speedy Morris's last regular season game. This one should be fun. St. Joe's Prep has already locked up their spot in the Philadelphia Catholic League playoffs. LaSalle has been eliminated from contention after their loss on Friday at Archbishop Wood. We're underway. A game that any time these two teams dress up against one another, it's a tough one. Arch rivals go at it here again. St. Joe's Prep in black. A 3 fires from the top of the key. Brian Gatens, the senior, gets St. Joe's Prep on the board.
I think this is a Prep team that'll live from the three-point line a little bit. I saw them on Friday against Archbishop Carroll, and they lived early on, and then the shots weren't falling as the game went along.
Yeah, whenever you have 5 shooters on the court, it's awfully hard to guard. And Coach Moore said the difference between early in the year starting out 10-4. There's a nice move, strong finish at the basket by DiPietro. But yeah, Coach Morris just says we're not shooting the ball as well as we were earlier. And you're right, Paul, they're going to live and die with it. That's the personnel they have, 5 shooters.
This guy right here is their leading scorer, Trevor Wall. 4-year guy, he's played varsity minutes each of his 4 years, and now really the star on this team. Wall thought about the 3, defended by Liam O'Donnell. LaSalle in the man-to-man defensively.
Yeah, Wall was someone I had to try to figure out how to stop his sophomore year. He was a good player even his sophomore year. Very quick off the bounce, as you see there.
Contact, no, but the offensive rebound finish by Chris Harrison.
Yeah, Arizon's looking to walk on at the Division I level. You see the knee brace. I recruited Ed Croswell from the Prep a couple years ago and thought Arizon had a terrific future, and I'm sure he still does as that knee gets better.
Offensive foul there called against LaSalle. Off the ball, 6:20 to play, first quarter.
His first, team's first.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching Arizin play on Friday. Just a smart, heady player, seemed to make the right play time and time again for them.
Well, the bloodlines would tell you that, if nothing else.
Grandfather, an NBA Hall of Famer, and Villanova great Paul Arizin, and his dad, Chris Arizin, was an outstanding player at Drexel.
2 minutes into this one, St. Joe's Prep a 5-2 lead. Wall defended by Jake Timby, blows by him, left-handed finish. And the explosiveness from the senior.
Yeah, there's that quickness off the dribble I alluded to earlier.
Yeah, the threat of the three can really set up those drives as the defense is spread out and they have to guard you out well past the arc. If you got some quickness, you could get to the rim.
Timby takes the high ball screen, slipping as DePietro had trouble getting it. Now his back to the basket. Horace Simmons, the freshman, he drives. That's a wild one off the glass. Almost went down, though.
Yeah, maybe if he would have come to a jump stop there, it would have been a little more on balance.
Good box out there by Mike DePietro. A foul called on the reach. Brian Gatens, the senior for St. Joe's Prep. His first, team's first.
That's his first, team's first.
I always thought senior days were interesting. They're almost never neutral. Either you get a huge emotional lift, or sometimes it's a little bit of extra pressure that I've seen lead to not great teams for the games for the home team. It's an emotional day.
Couldn't agree more. I mean, very few times over my 15 years that I have a stress-free senior day where it was a 20, 30-point win. You could just relax at the end.
Big rebound. Mike DePietro creates space. Well done underneath by the big man, the senior, Mike DePietro.
I love the offensive rebounders, 2 putbacks. I just love tough guys who get extra shots and finish around the rim. DePietro off to a good start.
Yeah, Prep doesn't have a lot of size inside, so DePietro has taken advantage of that early.
Trevor Wall takes things into his own hands. So explosive off the bounce.
Yeah, Coach Morris told me Wall's starting to get America East type Division I recruiting attention. I can see why here with the dual threat of the 3 and the drive.
Here's Holland off the ball screen. A grab called against Brian Gatens off the ball. And that is his second in the early stages here.
If I'm not mistaken, Trevor Wall just went over 1,000 points for his career as well.
Congratulations to Trevor Wall on that accomplishment. A day of accolades here at LaSalle College High School.
You said you did no research, Paul.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
My facts are a little rusty, but yeah. But thanks to TedSolari.com, I was able to grab a few tidbits.
Yes, Ted Solari for, 30 years, the source for everything Philadelphia Catholic League basketball, and there really were not many others out there. What a legend he was and is.
Yep.
Resuming coverage, that's a big deal.
That was big.
Especially to people like me.
Yeah.
Good catch there by Timby in the corner. Sam Brown just checked into the game. The all-star running back here for this LaSalle football team rises, hangs, couldn't get it to go. He has offers from Baylor and Michigan State, among others, as just a sophomore at the football level. Wall couldn't hit that 3. 3.5 to go first quarter. DePietro got all the way to the tin, great finish.
Nice strong finish again for DePietro.
If he wants to play in college, there are places where he could definitely contribute and make some coach happy with that level of toughness and skill.
I agree, Coach. It only took us a few minutes to figure that one out.
Brian Gatens hits the 3 from deep. 12-6. St. Joseph's Prep, 3 to play here in the first quarter. Guys, one thing about this St. Joe's Prep team, and really any Speedy Morris coach team in recent years, doesn't really matter what type of team it is. As Timby, that one was halfway down, wouldn't go. He relies on his starters as much as anybody I've ever seen. You'll see this 5 out there. Gatens picked up the 2 personals quickly, but he remains out there, and the coach with the confidence to let the guard go after it and play with those 2 personals early on.
Well, that's a big analytics thing. The analytics people will tell you players rarely foul out, and you're better off with your top players on the court than on the bench, obviously.
Everything but the finish, so that one hung on the rim. Wall oh so close. Nearly, probably was, but a double dribble not called. DePietro, a corner three. It's good, and he's having a great early start to this one.
I believe he's got all 9 of their points. I mean, I am a CPA, but it doesn't take a CPA to figure that one out.
He's feeling good on senior day, and again, you have so many memories and you have so much invested over the last 4 years. It's great to go out with your best performance. Happy for DePietro, but awfully early in the game.
Timeout here on the floor. This portion of today's game brought to you by Casey's Alley and Ambler, a great place to go watch the game. Tremendous partner of ours here at Bob Along Sports and LaSalle College High School. Good food specials, drink specials, friends, family, a great place for everybody to get together. It's in Ambler, right by the train station. You can park at the train station, walk on over. A LaSalle family runs it. So happy that they're with us here. And make sure you show them the love over there in Ambler. Casey's Alley.
Don't let him do it to you.
Looks like we have our first sub there for the prep. So right on the heels of us saying he only plays 5, he jumps in. Maybe he'll play 5.5 this game.
That's right. Richard Thomas, 5'11 junior, checks in. And it is Gatens with the 2 personal fouls that sits down for the prep. LaSalle stays man-to-man. Inside they go. Arizona turnaround, a little bit short. And the sophomore Nix Verano comes down with the carom for LaSalle. A handoff give and go there. Timby fortunate to caress that ball. Timby behind the screen. Good closeout there by number 5, Mike Keenan. Great defense by the substitute, Richard Thomas. Now a 3. It's good. Nix Verano, no foot on the line, a long 2. Cuts the deficit to 1 for LaSalle.
Good patience on that possession. Pretty good defense by Prep as well.
Transition here for LaSalle. Not a lot of numbers. Doesn't matter for Liam O'Donnell. Contact and a foul. Another look at this one as Timby runs the break. And O'Donnell just attacks.
And tight games, those transition baskets end up making a big difference. Even if you only get 4, 5, 6 points in transition, sometimes those half-court baskets are so hard-earned that if you could get those extra couple easier shots just by running the floor, getting a turnover at the end of the game, they could be the difference.
Brian Cawley checks in. Didn't see a ton of time this year, but great to get the senior in. 1 of 2 for Liam O'Donnell. Deadlocked at 12, under a minute to play. LaSalle in a full court pressure look for the first time. The beauty or the curse of high school basketball. I'll ask you, Paul. Shot clocks, yay or nay?
I'm very pro shot clock. I think what we do as coaches at the high school level is to try to prepare them for college, and that's what they're going to see at the college level. And for the kids that don't play college, it doesn't hurt them. I mean, you know, it only makes them better players to have to go and make plays. I mean, you know, I know why St. Joe's Prep is doing this, and I did it quite a few times over my career. You're playing with the rules that are in place right now, but I'm very pro shot clock.
Still time here for LaSalle. 5 seconds left. Timby up the floor. Down to 2. Good look for Verano for 3. Hits good. And LaSalle takes a 15-12 lead heading into the second quarter.
Big shot there.
The crowd loves that momentum changer. And the problem on that play, St. Joe's Prep took that shot with 6 seconds left, gave LaSalle too much time to get that 3 from the corner. You want to get that shot with, you know, under 5. You know, don't give your opponent that chance to get that last shot and basket.
Let's head down to our sideline reporter, Joe Shuron here. And Joe's going to give us his thoughts on the first quarter that was. Joe.
You know, it was really a tight first quarter. I think, you know, Prep came out strong, but then LaSalle really started dominating there. Mike McKay was telling his team to create space and cut to the basket at one point. I don't think Prep's coach was not happy with a couple of foul calls there either. And pressure's really high. Crowd's getting into it. Shaping up to be a good game. So see how it comes out in the second quarter.
Joe Schur on our sideline reporter. Thank you. We'll check in a little later with another report from you. One of the cool things we do here, both to Paul and John, is get the students involved. Joe's a class of 2020 here at LaSalle. Patty, who's helping us out on camera, he'll switch off in the second half. And we've gotten these guys, I think, valuable experience getting behind the mic. They've done color for some games as well.
I think that's great.
Interesting. Last year, Rowan started a program in sports communication. So many people want to do, young people want to do what you're doing, Bob, and like anything, they need that experience. So I think it's terrific that students can learn, in a good environment like this.
Sam Brown struggles, got his own rebound high off the window. Cauley a piece of it, but St. Joe's Prep brings it down. LaSalle with a 15-12 lead, early stages of the second quarter. Long three, Arrows in it short. What a rebound that was. Richard Thomas providing impact off the bench for this St. Joe's Prep team. There's a three from the top of the key. It's good, and the answer comes from Jimmy King.
Multi-sport athletes, we see Brown, the outstanding football player, King, a Division I baseball player, I'm told.
And Brown attacks the rim, 2 for LaSalle.
I love seeing it. You don't see that, the multi-sport athlete, a whole lot these days. Great shot there.
A track meet to begin the second quarter.
Keenan is a deep shooter. St. Joe's Prep coaches thought their best long-distance shooter.
Holland sees a lane. High off the window. Nicely done by the senior, Shane Holland. Good defense by Verano. Wall with the basketball. LaSalle switching off the back cuts off the ball. Wall. There's another long three. It's King. Back iron that time, and Brown brings it down safely. A lot of pride here on both sides. LaSalle out of the Catholic League playoffs at this point. An offensive foul called off the ball against LaSalle. It's Brian Cauley for the moving screen. Obviously, St. Joe's Prep, most likely the 9 seed locked in already, but a lot more going on behind the scenes here in this game. Senior day, Speedy Morris's last regular season game. A full house. It's just a little bit different for these kids here today.
Yeah, not to mention St. Joe's Prep and LaSalle is always, like you said, it's a big rivalry game, so it doesn't matter what kind of season these teams are having. There's little bragging rights between these two programs, these two legendary programs.
What are you guys seeing from Speedy here today? Anything special for his last game from a strategy or execution standpoint? There's a late foul called. Horace Simmons, the freshman, picks it up.
I just think it's a very evenly played game, as the scoreboard shows. I like the movement on both teams offensively. Coach Morris has the floor spread, a lot of movement and cutting. Not a lot of back to the basket play besides the Petro early on for LaSalle. But I also like Coach McKee's offense. He, as a college coach, was part of programs that ran the Princeton offense, and you could certainly see that influence over here. Both these teams, Paul, you mentioned getting kids ready for the college level. Well, these are college-type offenses. A lot of movement off the ball, a lot of reading, good spacing, very well-coached teams that are evenly matched.
Right, I mean, you talk about Speedy Morris as a college coach. You talk about Coach McKee as a college coach, but there's also obviously Randy Monroe on the Prep sideline as well, who was a college coach at UMBC.
St. Joe's Prep up the floor. They got an open look in the corner, and it's good. Mike Keenan heating up from deep. 5:07 to play first quarter.
I think St. Joe's Prep just counts in threes here, it looks like.
Timby can knock it down as well, and does that time.
This is punch, counter, tough punch. This is going to be a fun game.
Yeah.
The folks that have made their way out to Winmore here today being treated.
Switching man-to-man here by LaSalle.
Arizin, tough pass, good catch by King. Foot on the line, it's good. A long two by King.
These guys are really shooting the ball well. A little miscommunication on the defensive end there. Opened up King for that jumper, and he took advantage.
Shane Holland, that's high, no good. Tried to put it off the window. Couldn't get it to fall. Wall. Thought he was hit. No foul call, got his own rebound. And Keenan, it's his day.
It looks good when it leaves Keenan's hands. And offensive rebounds, some of the best time to get a three-point shot. The defense is pursuing the rebound. If you get it offensively, they're not matched up. Find the shooter.
Timby along the baseline, hesitation. Stepped on the baseline. St. Joe's Prep basketball, Mike DiPietro will check in, replacing Sam Brown. Bob Long, Paul Romanchik. We have Dr. John Giannini with us as well on the broadcast team here for Bob Long Sports. Speedy Morris's final game. We brought the big guns out. Thanks a lot to these guys for their time. Another three. That one's good again. Jimmy King says, get me in on the action. It's not just Keenan. Timeout Mike McKee. St. Joe's Prep, their largest lead of the game, leading 29-22.
Was really impressed with that three by King because it was off a down screen. He sprinted out, was able to pivot, get his feet set. Shooting off the move, much more difficult than catch and shoot. It's a very skilled St. Joe's Prep team. I could see, again, if they shoot the three well, if they make 10+ threes, they can be super dangerous in the Catholic League playoffs.
Yeah, I think maybe Coach McKee, he just subbed in DiPietro. Maybe we get some inside looks here. I think that's where you might be able to hurt the St. Joe's Prep team. But right now they're really shooting the ball well, and and that makes them a lot harder to guard, spacing that court out and shooting the three like they are.
What have you guys learned over your years? Neither of you, of course, directly played for Speedy Morris, but certainly, Paul, your time at Penn, I'm sure you got to know and knew going into college a lot of the guys that ended up at LaSalle to play for him. From what you get a sense of, what was it like to play for a guy like Speedy Morris?
Wow, well, one of the best compliments Speedy has ever said to me was, my first couple years coaching, he came over to me, he said, I only made 2 mistakes in recruiting, and he said it was you and Bill Phillips. So, I mean, that meant a lot to me. I said, Coach, I would have still played for Dumpf, you know that. So, joking back with him, but I know he was a stickler, very, very disciplined, attention to detail guy. I have friends that played for him. He really empowered his star players like Adani Carr when I was there, and Rasul Butler right after, really made them feel confident out there, and that's a lot of that's a good part of coaching, is instilling confidence in your players.
Timby for 3, it's good. And the senior heating up on his final game in this building. Paul, that is quite the compliment, I have to say. 2 mistakes in recruiting.
That's it, only 2. That's the best part of the story. He only made 2 recruiting.
Arizin a drive inside, a lot of traffic. Some contact below from Horace Simmons. He'll shoot 2 at the line. One more look. It's a good dish that time, drawing the 3 defenders, and Arizin finds the seam.
Good job attacking the closeout. That's when that's the most difficult play for a defender, is on those closeouts, especially with a kid that can shoot the ball like Arizin can.
I think Coach McKee in that last time out surely talked about defending the three-point line better, no more threes, contest threes, and then St. Joe's wisely uses the threat of the 3 to set up the drive. Just a real nice little show of the ball, bring it up to the nose, and then drive to either get to the rim or kick to another shooter.
1 of 2 from the line, that time for Arizin. Good catch there by Nick Ferrano, keeps his feet in play. Timby explodes to the basket, great finish. Feigns the ball screen on his way there.
It's a rejection of the ball screen. A lot of people think the first option is to use the pick and roll. The first option is to go opposite.
Liam O'Donnell chopped at by Trevor Wall. He'll shoot 2 at the line, a chance to cut it to 1.
Fast break basketball again. LaSalle's gotten out on the break a few times in this game, and we talked about how those free throws, easier points, are key in close games.
Yeah, you get the other team in foul trouble. I mean, sometimes in transition, that's the toughest time to defend, so it leads to some fouls.
And that's effort. You know, Paul, it's funny. You talk to any player and they say, I want to run. Then you watch them play and they jog up and down the court. You know, but what LaSalle is doing is hard work. It's lowering your head, sprinting full out, trying to get the advantage in transition.
And of note, Trevor Wall, 2 personal fouls. Will at some point that test the depth of Speedy Morris's team? Brian Gatens continues to sit with those 2 personal fouls. Good defense there by DePietro. Wall unleashes a deep one. An air ball, and stepping on the end line was Richard Thomas. So quite a run here for LaSalle, 7-1 in the Explorers' favor since that timeout. Sam Brown. DePietro spots up and hits it again, and LaSalle leads by 2.
What a half for DePietro. Inside, outside, offensive rebounds.
Yeah, he's doing it all for them. But once again, the ball went into the post first to go and get that three-pointer.
Mike Keenan answers with a step back from at least college distance.
And shooting the 3 off the dribble percentages are normally way lower than off the catch and shoot. So shooting that deep shot off the dribble is a very skilled play.
Yeah.
We return to our conversation at the end of the first quarter. LaSalle possessed with about 55 to play. Do they feel the urge to take a shot before the end of the second quarter? Will they try to take the last one, or they try to take a good one before that point?
Do I get on my shot clock soapbox again?
Yeah, that's right.
Looks like they're going for the last one, but remember, you want that 5 or lower if you do use this strategy. Don't give St. Joe's Prep a shot at their own scoring opportunity. 5 or under.
You notice Coach G said 5 or under. He didn't say right at the buzzer, because you want to leave open an opportunity for maybe an offensive rebound.
Yep.
See if LaSalle heeds that. It's down to 8 now. Now Brown wants to go. He'll drive. Pokes away from him. Chance for St. Joe's Prep. Down to 2. Could have been a travel. At the horn. St. Joe's Prep leads by 4. We'll take one more look at this one. Looked like it could have been a travel, guys, but quite a finish with some nylon.
What a shot. That kid really is a great shot maker. And once again, the team that's holding for the last shot, the other team goes and gets a 3.
A spectacular play.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Shot fake, buzzer beater.
Mike Keenan and Mike DePietro on opposing sides going at it here, leading the way for their respective sides. Let's go to Joe Shuron one more time with his thoughts here in the first half. Joe.
The LaSalle sideline was not happy. Prep has made 9 threes so far this game. They really want to get in and start closing out on shooters. And at the end on the number 5 shot, it looked like he traveled, and they were mad. They thought the travel should have been called in the last shot there. They were not happy with Prep's three-point shooting, and I think that was a big momentum boost for Prep. They were exhilarated when he hit that 3, and they're going to try and carry that into the second half. So,
Joe Shuron, good work, my friend, and we'll put you behind camera. Patty Heckard will take us with our quarterly updates from the sideline right after this. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
36-32. St. Joe's Prep leads over LaSalle. We'll take a quick break, and on the otest side, Richard Prendergast will join us here in studio. Stay with us.
Nobody knows your neighborhood like Dunphy Ford.
Nearly 40 years.
Right here on Frankfurt Avenue.
Generation after generation. Our neighbors continue to be our customers. We have access to the cars and trucks you want with financing you need.
Dumpy Ford is Northeast Philly's first choice for America's #1 brand. 7700 Frankfurt Avenue in Mayfair. Online at www.dumpyford.com.
Come experience the Dumpy difference. You'll be glad you did.
I chose CCM because I have found that this company, on the level of scaling that we have here, the volume that we are doing, to truly have every department head and employee fully engaged in the mission of the company to make it an originator-focused, production-first company. I have not found that anywhere I've worked, and I've worked at one of the largest banks in the world, down to the smallest tiny community bank and correspondent lender. No one has been able to consistently deliver that message.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome into the Nittany Lions Sports Report. Good evening, everybody. Welcome into the Nittany Lions Sports Report live on Bob Long Sports. Today we're going to talk about the offensive line and our man of the hour, the chef, the man himself, Des Holmes and Mike Miranda, your disruptors on the Penn State offensive line.
This year, you're going to see all four guys run. They all bring a different style.
The quarterback is going to read the defensive end's eyes and make a determination. Am I going to keep this football or am I going to hand it off to the running back? And that is generally the point of the RPO. Look who we have. We have Chris Perangeli, our guest picker for the evening.
What does your character look like? Does it bounce back after each setback? Does it stand out by standing up? Does it make good on good intentions? Character is invisible until it's not. Only through action will the world know what it's made of, what you're made of. Find out how you can strengthen the character of your community alongside empowered veterans and families of the fallen at travismanion.org.
Welcome back inside our broadcast booth, everybody. Richard Prendergast, current LaSalle University color commentator for all their broadcasts. Longtime assistant at LaSalle under Speedy Morris, joins Paul Romanchik and John Giannini with us. Thank you so much for the time. We really appreciate this, Richard.
My pleasure. Nice to be here. My alma mater.
That's right. Absolutely. Thanks for coming back.
Yeah, always nice to be back to the school that taught me well, I believe.
Take us through your relationship with Speedy Morris, a longtime assistant, I know a very close friend as well.
Yeah, I mean, a close friend. The first thing, thanks to Speedy, I met my wife down at Austin Peay University, so I owe him that. And then Speedy was my best man, and Mimi was our maid of honor at our wedding. But it's interesting that you have me do this today here because this is exactly the floor where I first met Speedy. It was way back 1965. I noticed these shirts say 52 seasons. Well, I know he had 55 because he had 3 in CYO. And that's when I met him. I think it was my second year coaching St. Tim's and his first year coaching St. John the Baptist. And we met each other playing in the LaSalle Grammar School basketball tournament here on this very floor. And I'll never forget it because we both had good teams, and we did win that game. And then, shaking hands with Speedy after the game, I'll never forget, he says to me, my scouts didn't tell me your press was that good. And I just was somewhat flabbergasted. Here's a guy with CYO had scouts, and I'm sitting there, what I need is a station wagon to get my players to the games. But it became a great friendship. My business, ICS Corporation, we were at 317 North Broad for quite a few years, right next to Roman. And my dad was a graduate of Roman. So Speedy and I became close because I would go to a lot of their games or stop in at his practices when I wasn't busy. But the big thing came when I ended up coaching the girls at Hallahan, and then Speedy got offered the women's job at LaSalle. And he called me up that summer, I'll never forget it, and said, I've been offered that job. Could I coach girls? You know me. And I said, college girls, Division I, you can coach them. You'll be surprised how good they are. And he said, well, if I take the job, would you come with me as an assistant? And, to go back to my other alma mater, LaSalle University, I said, that'd be great. I would love to do it. So we had the ladies for 2 years, and we had a lot of success, a lot of great players, great kids. Cheryl Reeves coached the WNBA Minnesota Lynx to 2 championships. She was one of our players. It was just a great 2 years, and then Speedy got the men's job. And fortunately, we also recruited Lionel Simmons that first year. So good players make good coaches, so we had a great run there at LaSalle.
That's great. And what has your relationship been like since you guys departed the sidelines there at LaSalle?
Well, it's like I say, it's never changed. I mean, I think my wife and Mimi talk almost, if not every day, every other day. So they kind of go back and forth. I live down the shore now and, help coach the Middle Township guys down there. And Speedy actually wanted me to come with him as an assistant at the prep. But to be honest with you, I live 75 miles away, and I kind of had it with traveling back and forth, so I politely turned that one down. But we stayed very close. We were at his 1,000th win along with Joe Mihalik and Fran Dunphy. We were at where they honored him, just about 2 weeks ago at the prep. Where everybody showed up for that. It was great. But we've stayed close. They come down the shore. My wife works at the Windward Hotel, and we've put them up there and had a lot of good times. We stayed very close with the family, Keith, Brian, Margaret, Mary, and Christopher. Actually, Christopher and my youngest daughter, Colleen, went to LaSalle together, and my 2 oldest daughters, Marie and Catherine, went to LaSalle with Keith. So families have been very close for a long time, still are.
That's great. I don't want to dominate this, Paul. John, anything that you and Richard had either been through or any questions or thoughts you had, that you wanted to share on Speedy at this time?
Well, I have a few, but I'll just quickly share one that I just found out for the first time before this game. I was talking with Randy Monroe. I said, what's your favorite Speedy story? He says, my senior year at Roman Catholic, my family was going to visit relatives in Georgia. And I said, Mom, I can't go. I have this tournament. And when Speedy found out he was going to be alone for Christmas, he said, come to my house with my family. He spent that Christmas and stayed 5 days with the Morris family. And you could see Coach Monroe getting emotional about that. And I think it's just one of probably many hundreds of stories of Coach Morris caring for his players.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Speedy always did care about the players, Dr. John. Paul has some stories, too, because he had to go up against them enough times.
Oh, no doubt about it. But I mean, it sounds like the stories, the theme largely is family, is about the Morris family, and then friends that are family, obviously, like you said.
Hey, Richie, tell the Jack Hurd recruiting story.
Oh, we had a great one when we recruited Jack Hurd. It's a classic. He lived in a little town out in Midwestern Pennsylvania called Lidditz, and it was in the middle of winter when they made a home visit. So it was Dumpf, Joe Mihalik, and Speedy. I wasn't there on that one. All I know is they had a great home visit, and it's a very big recruit to get. So they're leaving, and Dumpf is driving, and Speedy's talking to him, and all of a sudden Speedy says, Dumpf, please tell me Joe Mihalik's in the back seat. And they turned around, and Joe Mihalik wasn't in the back seat. They had to turn around. There's Joe Mihalik standing outside the Hurd household, freezing cold because they had his overcoat. So when he finally gets in the car, Speedy says, Joe, why didn't you at least go back in the house? He said, Speedy, we're trying to recruit this kid. You think his parents would let him come with us if they were so dumb they left me here? Very, very true story.
That's a classic.
But, just one of many, many good ones with Speedy. I can still hear the phrases when we were coaching together. Ball you man, flat triangle, don't turn a good shot into a bad play. I mean, Speedy was... He actually had a way to retrieve a loose ball that if you didn't go down on that floor the right way, he kind of got on you for that. That's how detailed he was.
Oh, that's brilliant. Well, Richard, we appreciate your time. You're welcome to hang if you want. We can also let you get back to it, though, if you'd like.
No, I'll get back to the bride. She's going to crutches, so I got to look after her.
All right. Sounds
Gentlemen,
good.
it's always great to see you, Paul.
Thanks,
Good luck
Richie.
to you continuing.
Best,
Dr. John,
man.
I'm a
You're
fan
the
of
best.
yours. Keep it up.
Back at you. Same.
not surprisingly, they diagram a play for Keenan coming out of the timeout there. A little flare screen or fade screen for a jumper.
Tell you, guarding 5 shooters is a defensive nightmare. If St. Joe's Prep, you could see why they started this year 10-4, and while they're so dangerous moving forward.
Yeah. Jimmy King left, right, got right back to where he left off there with knocking down that shot.
Gentlemen, I'm back. Thank you very much for staving us off here while we began the third quarter.
We couldn't do it too much longer without you, Bob.
39-32 the score in favor of St. Joseph's Prep. Many thanks to Richard Prendergast. Sorry that we kept him as we were beginning the second half here. But what's great stories he had, guys. I love that recruiting story. Dr. Giannini, I appreciate you prompting him on that one.
Teeing that one up.
Well, it's one of my favorites. I had to hear
Great
it.
one.
Now here's Mike DiPietro on the drive. Creates space, and it's an offensive foul. The off arm. Too much for the official to let go.
I don't mind him attacking like that, though. I mean, that's how he got, a couple baskets for them early. Physically just trying to impose his will on the smaller Prep team.
I think you're right, Paul. If either of us were coaching DiPietro on that play, we'd be fine with that aggressiveness.
Gayton's just off the bench, no good. He sat for the majority of the second quarter. And offensive foul there, going for the rebound, called against St. Joseph's Prep. First personal against Chris Harrison. A full house here at LaSalle here this afternoon. DiPietro, that's a long three. That hits big time from Liam O'Donnell.
It's really been quite the shooting display, and it's not like it's bad defense. Both teams are guarding actions. They're stopping dribble penetration and forcing tough threes, and people are stepping up and making them.
In 5 for 6 at half for LaSalle from 3. I don't think they've taken any other than Liam O'Donnell's 3 there. So now they're 6 for 7.
Trevor Wall off the steal, count it at the other end. Har Simmons lost the dribble. LaSalle trails by 6, 5:25 to go, third quarter. Holland, a lot of space. If he wants to attack, he'll do that. Spinning in the lane. What a finish.
He's really quick.
Good high-level move right there.
And guys, LaSalle, the offense, spaced the floor, allowed that lane to be wide open, giving him the freedom to attack. Gayton's off the back screen. Timby a little fortunate there as he was going above the screen, allowed Gayton's to get that look off. Timby, a hesitation dribble, jump stop, and finish.
You noticed the hesitation, then a little shot fake too. Very skilled one-on-one play.
Going to his offhand, going right as well.
Timeout on the floor, 4:41 to go in the third quarter, and LaSalle, after St. Joseph's Prep had a bit of momentum going into the halftime break and then coming out of the break, LaSalle responding.
We're talking a lot about Speedy Morris today. A couple other points. One is how he has adapted to his personnel over the years offensively. Paul, you mentioned the confidence he gave the Donnie Carrs and the Rasul Butlers and the Lionel Simmons. Well, I take this as a great compliment to give him. He's not a system-oriented coach because he'll change his system from year to year. And even here, I really like the X's and O's from both teams.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're getting good movement, like you said. I mean, I don't see a lot of just standing around, ball screens. There's a lot of movement, cutting down screens, and that's a staple of the Speedy Morris offense.
4:30 to go, third quarter. St. Joe's Prep, a 2-point lead here on the road. Speedy Morris's final regular season game. Wall will run a circle, reset the offense. LaSalle man-to-man. Mismatch as DePietro guards Wall. Wall couldn't finish, but an offensive carom and finish by Chris Arizin. Sam Brown left open. A bit long there. It's a guy, Brown, I think certainly more of a guy that likes to attack and slash to the basket. Prep. Happy to give him that shot. Now this is where he's more dangerous. Here's Timby running the break. Brown cuts. Great look. And it's an offensive foul. We'll get one more look at this one. Mike McKee less than pleased.
Definitely a bang-bang play there. That's one of the toughest calls for a referee to make.
It's interesting, even looking at replays, you're right, Paul. It's just a tiny fraction of a second whether or not that defender's set before the offensive player leaves their feet.
.346 to play, third quarter. Off that turnover from LaSalle, they'll pick up full court. Jimmy King runs the show for the Hawks of St. Joe's Prep. Keenan wanted to let that one go. Now Arizin. DePietro stays with him well. Trevor Wall for three. It's good.
Penetration, open that three up though. They look to attack. Finally got number 10 there, Geaton's on a drive down the baseline and got Wall an open look.
In that sense, St. Joe's Prep has no one in the post. 5 people out, court spread, all cutting, but it leaves it open for the drive and kick.
Jake Timby, not a lot of offense run there, doesn't matter. Knocks it in from distance, and it's a 4-point game once again.
I thought that was a great contest by Mike Keenan, too. I mean, that's an excellent shot by Jake Timby.
Well, this is good offense against good defense. This is really a well-played game.
Certainly one of the most complete games, I can speak to this, that LaSalle has played this year. Jake Timby, a guy as well. Last season, LaSalle had a tremendous run through the state playoffs all the way to the state semifinals. They graduated 7 seniors from that team. The lone guy on that team that really had significant playing time was Jake Timby. He was the hero in a lot of those games, hit big shots down the stretch. This is really his team this year, and it's been a team where they've been trying to grow from a chemistry perspective, understand their roles, guys that had not played at the varsity level leading into that point. And it's unfortunate the way this goes in basketball, guys, but they're kind of hitting their stride right at the tail end of the season here. They're going to come up a game short, maybe 2 of the Catholic League playoffs.
Well, LaSalle knows this is their last game, so they have everything to play for. Senior day, sold-out crowd. You can leave it all on the floor, and we see all those variables making this just a super competitive, fun game.
There's an offensive foul called against Trevor Wall.
You'd much rather beat your rival heading into the offseason than go off on a losing note on senior night.
And that's the 3rd personal foul against Trevor Wall, the leader of this St. Joseph's Prep team. He has not sat for a single minute here today. He remains out there on the floor as Brown attacks, too strong off the glass.
Something tells me this isn't the first time he's had 3 at this juncture and Speedy left him in.
He will have to be smart, which with his experience level, as you said, Paul, he's been in this situation before, but St. Joe's Prep obviously much better with Wall in there. That's why they're trusting him with 3 fouls, but has to be smart with fouls.
St. Joe's Prep patient here as they dump it inside. The kick out and the 3 from King, no good. And DePietro, that's an aggressive rebound that time from the senior. Ferrano, a deep one. Wow. And an offensive rebound. Timby pulls up, foul line, good. Down to 2.
Coach McKee told me Timby will be going to Catholic U next year, one of the best Division III programs in the country, great academic school. Happy for Timby with this opportunity that awaits him.
Catholic's getting a very good, smart, heady player that can really make shots.
It's an exciting time. A lot of talent here in the Catholic League. Obviously goes beyond these 2 teams. I just, hey, maybe it's me coming of age a bit, but over the last, we'll say 4 or 5 years, I have seen more guys go play college ball, period, it seems like, and then also guys going to the highest of high Division I schools. I think of Colin Gillespie, Demir Cosby-Roundtree from that Newman Goretti and Archbishop Wood team. Quade Green, who started at Kentucky, went to Washington. I mean, a lot of guys in this area and from this league have made their mark nationally over the last 4 to 5 years. You guys probably have more perspective. Has it always been that way, or is it up a notch in the last few years?
I think it's always been that way, to be honest. You know, for instance, my senior year alone, I mean, we had Larry Kettner, who played in the NBA. You know, Donnie Carr, who we had alluded to earlier. Rasul Butler was just a freshman at the time. Raphael Biggis, who's 7-footer on my team, who played at Villanova. You know, Martin Inglesby, who would go on to play at Notre Dame. I mean, the list goes on and on. I'm sure I'm even missing guys. To your point, I mean, I think the league is maybe deeper. I think there's more teams that could make a difference. You see O'Hara's playing really well and having a good season. McDevitt in recent years. So the depth of the Catholic League, I think, is very impressive.
How about the day from Jake Timby? Arrows in, lets the fly by, runs over Timby. Pretty easy call. Offensive foul, sends it back LaSalle's way. And Timby's doing it both offensively and defensively.
Great take. It looked like Timby was definitely set there, but I think that's why they have that semicircle in the college game and then in the NBA game, right, Coach?
You're exactly right. I would guess that would be a matter of time until that rule with the charge circle is brought into the high school level. Because if you're standing under the basket, you know, it's really not fair at that point to take a charge because you've given up the path to the basket. The under the basket charge is, as you said, not allowable at other levels. I would expect that to change in high school at some point.
I would always try to teach my players to go and meet the guy outside the lane and pretend like the lane was our semicircle.
Yeah, you don't protect the rim, you protect the block. Yeah. I like that.
20 seconds left here.
So we think Prep's going to get the last shot here since the first 2 quarters ended that way.
That's right. It's Brown with 11, takes a double high ball screen. Brown a drive inside, and a block is called. That's a late whistle there. A Prep contingent right in front of us, less than pleased. They're looking for that right there.
I think he was moving. I think that's a good call by a veteran official.
Let me ask you guys something here. It's something I observe, and I don't know if it's legitimate or not, but let's say that basket goes in. Is that call made? Or is that a late whistle because it comes off the rim and there was just enough contact? I don't know. Okay, we'll call it.
I think that's a really good point. I think if the ball goes in, you know, we have Prep going the other way.
6 seconds left. Brown misses the first. Sam Brown, 1 of 2.
Substitution for the Explorers, number 24, Salle.
Prep with 5. Here's Trevor Wall. He can get all the way to the 10, and it's uncontested. St. Joe's Prep leads by 3, heading to the 4th.
That was a masterful job of Coach Morris. That was a set play, late game preparation, hit the wing, but then hit your man on the run going up the court. You can't execute better in a 5-second situation than that. Great preparation by Coach Morris.
No doubt about that. Now Patty Heckard with us, our sideline reporter. Let's turn to him. Patty.
Well, so far Coach McKee not very happy with many calls during that 3rd quarter. Given a bench warning because of that, because of a charge that would have given LaSalle 2 points. So far, LaSalle doing really well to stop Prep's 3-point game. Prep had 7 3-pointers in the 2nd quarter, and that stopped down to just a 3. And Jake Timby really coming out this quarter with 10 points and helping the LaSalle Explorers bring that lead to just 3, or that deficit just a 3.
Very nicely done. Patty Heckard, our sideline reporter. We'll check back in a little bit later. Thanks so much.
I'd be remiss if I didn't tell at least one Speedy Morris story here about, this is one of my favorites about me coaching against him. we had played each other twice during the regular season, and I had his plays scouted in and out. My assistants did a great job. We even got a majority of his play calls as well from all the hard work. And then we get into the playoffs, and he had changed every single one of the calls. So Detroit was called New Jersey, and 14 was now 41, and took me a half to figure it all out. And my guys, my own players were looking at me like, Coach, great job. You didn't know any of the calls. So,
I think everyone talks about Coach Morris as someone with this great relationship with his players and as a mentor to other coaches and as a family man. I think the X's and O's, just like you said, these examples of his coaching and the technical and strategic part of what he does is really not talked about enough sometimes.
Timby can't hit that one. That was a tough look. Bob Long, Paul Romanchik, 15-year head coach in Philadelphia Catholic League, head coach at Archbishop Carroll. Dr. John Giannini, longtime head coach at LaSalle University. Paul played against Speedy when he was coaching at LaSalle, and Paul was playing at Penn. Glad they could be here today for this one. A wild scramble underneath. King got himself into trouble and back out of it.
Very good passing team, this St. Joe's prep team. Really look for each other well.
Wall a bit short on the step back three. 7 minutes, 5 seconds to go here in the fourth quarter. O'Donnell has patience. Feigns the ball stream, goes right at him. Couldn't finish it. And the rebound brought down by St. Joe's Preps.
Good strong take by O'Donnell with Wall guarding him with 3 fouls. I thought that was a smart move, good take. Didn't get the call, didn't get the bucket, but it was a smart basketball play.
Wall a hesitation dribble. Good spinning out to King. Couldn't hit that one, and Mike DePietro, a little discard underneath. Sends Gatens to the floor.
Paul, you mentioned the passing. So good passers make good shooters. Both offenses are making shots in this game, but a lot of these are kick-out threes and passes delivered at the right time as soon as someone's open in the right location in the shot pocket.
Like I talked to you before, I watched a lot of CYO basketball. That message has not gotten through to some of to my sons and their teammates just yet.
Gatens through traffic, tough one, couldn't get it over the front rim. LaSalle a chance here in transition. Throws that one through the hands there. Timby actually a little bit out beyond his hands, to the point where Timby thought, is there somebody behind me that I shouldn't be tipping this ball so that he can catch it?
It's been a pretty clean game, though, as far as turnovers. I mean, I don't have the stats in front of me, but both teams, I think, are passing the ball extremely well and taking care of the ball.
Keenan, tough shot there. The grab, I think, is going to come against O'Donnell. There's some body contact behind, but it is O'Donnell on the reach. 2 shots upcoming.
LaSalle found number 5, William O'Donnell. That's his first.
Certainly not to be understated. It's a great rivalry. These guys, if you're a good player and you've played varsity since a younger age, you get 2 chances to come here to LaSalle. This Keenan's senior year, Trevor Wall's senior year, Chris Arizon's senior year. These are guys that, hey, this is their last game in this building. A big rivalry means a lot to Keenan as well. How about that one? A long ride around the rim. It's a 4-point game. The offense on both sides has sputtered a little bit. Heading into the fourth quarter, another giveaway by LaSalle. Trevor Wall couldn't finish it. A nice aggressive take. Although Speedy doesn't look like he likes it, looking at the bottom of our screen.
How many shots has he liked? The ones that have gone in, pretty much.
Sam Brown rises. Maybe a bit ill-advised there as well. 5:10 to play, fourth quarter. If my math is correct, just the 1 foul shot. scored here in the fourth quarter thus far. Gatens can't add to that. Brown attacks, shoulders a lot of contact movement there from Gatens. He'll shoot 2 at the line.
Brown's going to have an interesting decision between football and basketball, already being recruited at the highest level of football. You mentioned Baylor and some other schools, but he's going to have a future in basketball too. And be interesting to see what he decides and how he develops in both sports as time goes on.
Richard Thomas will check in. Replacing Mike Keenan. Nick Sperano checks in for the shooter, Sam Brown. Paul, you had said you'd be remiss if you didn't share a Speedy story. Get them all out, guys, before while we still have time. Any others that come to mind? Shoot them off the hip.
Well, I think of him, you know, in the Hall of Fame. So he's in 11 different Hall of Fames, but what about the big one, Naismith? And my criteria would be success, high-level NCAA tournament level success in men's Division I basketball, in women's Division I basketball, and elite success at the high school level. And one sports writer once said is, if Speedy didn't coach in college, he might be a shoo-in for the Hall of Fame because his record would be very similar to Bobby Hurley and Morgan Wooten. So I would hope that his college success would help his case more than get in, more than work against him.
That's a great point. And that list of folks that have succeeded at all 3 levels is a heck of a lot shorter than that succeeded at any one particular level.
I can't, Paul, can you think of anyone who's done all 3?
He's got a very unique resume. I can't think of one offhand. I'm sure it'd take anyone, any of our listeners or anybody, a really difficult time to figure out who would even fit that criteria.
Shane Holland will shoot 2 at the line. A blocking foul called against Jimmy King, his first, team's 6th. LaSalle in the bonus at the next St. Joe's Prep foul.
The other thing Speedy's known for is one of the best public speakers around. Hilarious. His son Chris is a professional comic and actor. But if you've ever heard Speedy speak, you always come away laughing and smiling.
Missed both. Shane Holland. LaSalle trails by 5. 4 minutes remain for Speedy Morris from a regular season perspective as head coach in the Philadelphia Catholic League. What a special run it's been. What a special day this is, guys. Thanks for making this special and being a part of it. Hopefully it adds some value to you guys as well, being able to share a bit, sentiment-wise, about this great coach.
When I think of Speedy Morris, as far as offensively, I think about the flex. He's gotten away from it a little bit over the last, 6, 7, 8 years, but there was just a little flex screen action to start this possession. Vintage Speedy.
What do we got? We got a block, it looks like. Disagreement between the officials. Sliding to the baseline. That's the reasoning behind the call. I think the exaggerated jump there.
Yeah, I think Wall was a little out of control there. That's a tough call for LaSalle.
Paul, your point is perfect.
It's not decided yet. And perhaps it is. There was a discussion happening at the tail end there.
The decision is the defense wasn't set, but at the same time, Wall was completely out of control. Hence the displeasure from the LaSalle faithful here.
Timeout on the floor, 3 minutes, 23 seconds to play, fourth quarter here. LaSalle against St. Joseph's Prep. Senior day for LaSalle, that's a big deal. And of course, Speedy Morris's last regular season game. This portion of today's game brought to you by Carrie Guerin Boyle and Jim McLaughlin of the Carrie Guerin Boyle team at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Fox and Roach Realtors. Jim is a LaSalle alumni. His father and 3 sons attended LaSalle as well. Carrie's family's been associated with the school for generations, and she currently has a sophomore in the class of 2022. Jim and Carrie have trusted their family to LaSalle, and you can trust that you will be treated like family when buying or selling your home with this real estate team. Call Jim at 267-242-5991 or Carrie at 267-626-6818 for any real estate questions. Licensed in PA and New Jersey. And if I may add a personal testimonial, they're helping me and my wife trying to find our first house right now. Jim and Carrie, I trust them. The LaSalle family trusts them. You should trust them too to help buy or sell your home. 3:23 to go here, guys. St. Joe's Prep looking for their 6th win in the Philadelphia Catholic League this year. This would assure that they are the number 9 seed in the Philadelphia Catholic League playoffs. They'd face either Archbishop Ryan or Archbishop Carroll on the road on Wednesday evening in the first round. Good cut to the basket, just couldn't finish.
Great slip of that screen by Wall.
It's the easiest shot of the game. Go figure.
And the hardest too when you're that open.
Yeah.
Timby pulls up at the elbow, that's good. Jake Timby wants one more win here in this building. Under 3 minutes to go. Wall guarded by Liam O'Donnell. Arizin. The floor spaced wide out here. Arizin on the dribble drive, good kick. Gatens has been hot. High off the rim, and DePietro goes to get it. LaSalle a chance to tie with this possession. Under 2.5 to play. DePietro spots up. Back iron, no. Sam Brown brings it down. And they'll reset. Maybe just a little bit of a nudge in the back. Allowed Brown to get that rebound. There's a blocking foul called against number 13, Richard Thomas. And that is the 8th team foul against St. Joseph's Prep.
I think Thomas had his hands a little low there. They were up and out at first, and as the drive got a little closer to the hoop, he put his hands down, and the refs see that.
We must have some air of legitimacy here in this press row here, because after a call like that, you have some of the St. Joe's Prep faithful in the row below us turning back to look at us like we have some control over it.
You're right, Paul. I see more and more coaches teaching while you're doing your defensive slide drills, chest out, hands back, emphasize not following with the with your hands. And this is an old Pete Carrill Princeton thing that you probably had to play against at Penn. I was told he taught his players to foul with their chest.
Yeah.
You know, just bump them, but have the hands back. Make it look like you're not fouling, but rock you with the chest.
Yep.
2 minutes to play. It's a 1-point lead for St. Joseph's Prep. LaSalle, 1 foul to give.
Game did not disappoint.
Thomas, and now Arizin. Thrown away, LaSalle basketball. Miscommunication between Gatens and Arizin. I admire the fight of this LaSalle College High School team. They thought that they might still have a chance here today to make the Philadelphia Catholic League playoffs, but by virtue of West Catholic's double overtime win over Devon Prep, that opportunity was squashed. But they came out here with a lot of pride, representing themselves and this institution well here today against their arch rival.
Yeah, these seniors want to go out winners, and then the underclassmen want to beat their rivals heading into the offseason.
Sam Brown, tough shot, wouldn't go. Arizin, a really strong rebound in traffic.
And Keenan's defense on Timby that time was exemplary. They really wanted to try to play through Timby on that. Keenan wouldn't let him get the ball.
.53 seconds left.
And if LaSalle wants to foul, they actually have to foul twice here to put them on the line.
Here's your shot clock situation again, Paul.
Yeah, again.
LaSalle with a foul to give. Question is, when do you take it?
Well, if they're going to go for the steal, they better trap or deny, be more aggressive or foul. They either need the steal or the foul.
They probably need to foul now.
Yeah.
25 seconds left, and now they do foul.
You got to foul one more time here.
Inbounds passes are hard. Let's see if they can get a steal off this inbounds pass.
Deny, maybe even trap once.
Yep,
you have time,
exactly.
You have time for that. Coach McKee's a veteran coach. He's been in this situation a number of times. So
no, this will really be a chess match over here. As you said, I think Coach McKee's going to switch things, deny things, maybe get a trap, maybe take the person on the ball and put him off the ball, so you're playing 5 against 4, and then you have Coach Morris drawing something up as he has for the last 52 years, and you know it'll be something good. The dangerous thing here is throwing it in the backcourt, because if they steal that pass backwards, they could go down and lay it up. We lost in overtime game at Villanova once on that mistake on our part. We were up 4 in this situation and threw it in the backcourt. They stole it, got an and one, and fouled us. We missed the front end of the 1-on-1, and then they ended up tying it, and heartbreaker. But I bring it up because don't throw the ball in the backcourt.
Yeah. There's a lot of different ways to lose a basketball game. we've seen quite a few of them.
I think you either got to throw it in the front court or do something with a bigger guy, post up to get the ball. Like right here, I think Wall could just post up and get the ball.
Yeah, maybe Ara's in here to the corner. There's not many people over there.
Yeah, they got away with it. But LaSalle has to give better pressure on that being down.
Yeah.
They need to foul. It's a 3-point game.
Just how Speedy drew it up.
Timeout on the floor. 11.8 to play. And look at this.
All right, Paul, I'll put you on the spot first. We saw a buzzer beater 3 at the end of the first half. You see buzzer beaters every night. You're up 3. Do you foul, not foul? If you do foul, when?
Wow, that's a great dilemma. We played Santa Clara out in San Francisco either my sophomore or I think it was my junior year, and we were in this circumstance, and we just played it straight, and they hit a 3, and then they beat us in overtime. So I'm generally of the mindset of foul, but I didn't see exactly how much time.
It's 11 seconds.
Yeah, so I would say around 7, 6, 5 you foul. I don't know if you want to foul early. And you obviously have to watch, fouling outside the 3-point line to someone that's actually shooting a 3.
Chuck it up. Yeah. We think exactly the same. The 11 seconds, this is the awkward part of it. But if it gets around 6 or 7, I think foul. But this is the tough thing. You have to practice these late game situations, and a lot of people don't. That's why I was so impressed with St. Joe scoring at the end of the first half with just 5 seconds, something they clearly practiced.
Well, we fouled in a game against Wood, and in the same situation. They went to the line, made the first free throw, missed the second perfectly, and they had obviously practiced the play, and they just missed like a contested 4 or 5 footer, and we escaped with a victory, but it was well played by Coach Moscow.
But to your point, a lot harder to make the free throw, get the rebound, make the 2 than just make a 3. The other thing that I think you need to do defensively in this situation is switch all 5 positions.
I agree.
You don't want anyone to get that look for a 3, and switching prevents that. And remember, if you give up a 2, not a big deal.
12 seconds left. Here it is. Final 10 seconds of Speedy Morris's career. Do they foul? Sam Brown with 5 seconds left. He drives it inside, finishes. Timeout called by Mike McKee. Looks like about 2 seconds left. Let's see if they put any time left. There's 1.5 left now. Guys, that's too long to wait.
I got to think Prep is pretty happy with that possession as far as them just settling for 2 there, and now there only being 1.5 seconds left.
If you're going to take the 2, there were 11 seconds left. You got to try to get that shot in the first 2 or 3 seconds.
No timeouts remaining.
And no timeouts, as public address announcer Chris Carabello just confirmed. Not that there's even the opportunity to advance the ball or anything like you'd see in the NBA, but It just makes things quite difficult here for LaSalle. They trail by 1. Last I checked, there was 1.5 on the clock. The way they do things here at LaSalle is they count down the time left on the timeout. There was a conversation with the official at the scorer's table, but I don't know if that's going to add any more time back or not.
Well, obviously, best case scenario for LaSalle would be to face guard and maybe, you know, get a 5-second call so they can have the ball out of bounds underneath their own hoop. That would be best case scenario for Coach McKee and the Explorers.
Yeah, no question. Second best, you have to steal the ball.
Yeah.
Then what's interesting is if they do inbound it and they foul St. Joe's real quick, I think St. Joe's is better off missing the free throw on purpose, because even if there's a second left in the game, you could throw it long and make the three. The missed free throw, you just can't make that.
The only national championship game I've ever been to, Coach G, was Duke Butler, and Coach K yelled at Brian Zubek to miss the shot, and then Gordon Haywood had like a half court, rattle in and out there.
Yeah.
Now we got a whistle here. They started the clock. They had put 0.5 back on it, and there was a mistake at the scorer's table. It started ticking down.
Talk about home cooking. Come on now.
I think that bailed out St. Joe's Prep a little bit because King was actually behind the backboard too. Not only did they see the action, but King was behind the backboard and wouldn't be able to throw it long.
They still can run the floor. That was a point of contention amongst the officials there. We're back underway. Does LaSalle have another way to get a foul here? They get it with about 1 second. That has 1.0 exactly on the clock.
Yeah, way too easy.
And let's see if they miss it on purpose, because remember, if they make it, LaSalle has the option of the home run pass, the Christian Laettner play. Just throw it up to an athlete like Brown or DiPietro, and they have time to turn and score.
Front end here, so maybe you try to make the first and then make a decision on the second so you don't get beat by a 2. It's the first. Yeah, now maybe you miss it.
I'm missing this. But I also don't have over 1,000 wins either.
Coach, add it up. Do we even have half that? I don't know.
I don't think so.
1 second to go. 2-point game.
Long pass. So you're saying there's a chance.
So they make the foul shot and call the timeout, give LaSalle an opportunity to draw up a play.
I think this is a tough situation for St. Joe's, because you don't want to foul the three-point shooter either. But with all you got to do is throw the pass half court, and you're going to have enough time to get a 3 off.
But I think if you're at least aggressive going after the basketball, and if you do foul, it's only a 1-and-1.
Again, it goes back. You're better off fouling.
Yeah, I agree.
Guys, what a way for Speedy Morris's career to end. It has to be with some dramatics, right?
How about that? Yeah.
No other way for him to go out. What a basketball game.
Now here's the other question. Put someone on the ball or off the ball. I'll cheat this time. I'll give you I'd rather be off the ball. I'd rather have a free safety back out there, unless you have someone with really long arms.
Yeah, if you have a lot of size, I say put someone on the ball. But LaSalle doesn't have 6'8", 6'9" to put on the ball, so maybe that's the way they go.
St. Joe's Prep.
St. Joe's Prep, I meant, sorry.
Yeah, they're going on the ball.
Yeah.
Chris Harrison to guard the inbound. Liam O'Donnell, 1 second on the clock. It's going to be Timby at the horn. That's going to come up short. Speedy Morris wins his last regular season basketball game as coach. 59-56 over LaSalle, over their arch rival. And what a way for the legend to go out here on a beautiful Sunday afternoon.
Bob, thanks for having us. I mean,
this was great.
Yeah, to be at Coach Morris's last regular season game, and LaSalle versus the Prep rivalry game, sold out gym, senior day, close game. It's a blast. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for carrying a rookie broadcaster here, guys. You made me look good.
It was an absolute pleasure, guys. You guys are welcome back anytime, and I hope to stay connected here in the future. Now let's bring on Patty Heckard for one more set of thoughts on this finale. Patty, it was close all the way to the end.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I feel like LaSalle failed to take advantage of a very low-scoring half. Prep only with a few points, and LaSalle ending up with only 6. Really shows that a lot of missed shots this half, on both ends. A lot of missed opportunities, and I feel like LaSalle really blew a chance here late in the fourth.
Yeah, tough one there for the Explorers, but Speedy Morris, his last game, he ends up with a victory. A tremendous career there, Patty.
Definitely. And a good way to end his regular season here with a win, and good luck to him in the playoffs.
Absolutely. Patty Heckard, thank you so much for your work here this afternoon, as well as Joe Shuron helping out on the camera. Paul Romancic, John Giannini, what a pleasure, guys. This was so much fun.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Enjoyed the time. Thanks to Richard Prendergast for his time at halftime as well. And again, congratulations to the man of the hour, Speedy Morris. Completes his regular season coaching career. His Hawks are on to the playoffs. Best of luck to the Hawks as they'll play on Wednesday night in the first round of the Philadelphia Catholic League playoffs. It's been so much fun all year long bringing LaSalle College High School athletics to you. This is our last LaSalle basketball game. We may have some hockey action coming your way as the season continues on, but I'll bid everybody farewell this afternoon. It's been great. Enjoyed the time, and thanks everybody for being so supportive of what we do here at Bob Long Sports. For everybody here at Bob Long Sports, we'll say goodbye for now, and stay tuned for all the great things we have upcoming.